different way. But let's give it a shot in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We're gonna do a quick night test. Let's see how it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, folks. What up? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Many of you are aware of what you just heard somewhere. I see some folks in the comments are saying that's the new pledge and what the hell is he doing? That was the opening for his rally on Saturday in Ohio in support of J.D. Vance. But he's been doing that. That's not something new. That is the January 6th choir in the background. So you hear Trump citing the Pledge of Allegiance. It kind of sounds like he's doing a pledge over the anthem, and he was saluting during the entire process. But we're not necessarily here to talk about that. I see some folks say he saluted with the wrong hand. Yikes. Big Ray says, I see what you did there, brother. I didn't do anything but play the beginning of Trump's rally on Saturday, so I didn't do anything. But we're going to be asking a question. As you see, this live stream is titled Trump versus Letitia James. And we're asking that question because it appears as though he does not have the $400+ million. So the first thing we're going to be asking is Letitia James being unfair? Is the city of New York being unfair to Trump, where they're not even giving this guy more than a month to come up with $500 million? I mean, regardless of how you feel about President Trump, is it wrong to demand a guy produce 400, whatever the hell it is? It's ridiculous, in only 30 days. Is that wrong to demand such a huge output in such a short period of time? We're going to be talking about that because Trump states Trump has made it clear that he's had plenty of money. I want to give you guys a quick clip. We'll talk about it on the other side.
I'm really rich. I made a lot of money. I have these guys. Maybe he's not worth $10 billion. I think he's only worth $7. I'm actually worth more than 10.
Well over $10 billion.
Much more than that, but that's okay. I want to be conservative. Nobody knows what I own.
The greatest assets, Trump Tower.
I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco.
Bank of America building in San Francisco. 1290 Avenue of the Americas. 40 Wall Street, sometimes referred to as the Trump building.
I'm not doing that to brag.
I'm not doing that to brag because you know what? I don't have to brag. I don't have to. Believe it or not. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. Net worth, not assets, not liability. A net worth. I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care.
Who cares?
After all debt, after all expenses,
Who cares?
the total is $8,737,540,000.
If you have $1 billion, you can live very nicely. I'm only kidding.
So what do you think? Do you think he's telling the truth?
I have these guys.
He clearly described what he was worth in numerous clips. I mean, you see all of the different clips he's describing that he has plenty of money. I mean, do you think he was telling the truth, or perhaps was he making it up? Because some of that stuff goes back to his early days in politics. He's only stating facts, says Christ or Christie. So you believe what he was stating was factual. Well, then I would like to follow up what we just played with a clip here from Wolf Blitzer today.
We're following breaking news just coming into CNN right now. Attorneys for former President Donald Trump say they're unable to get a bond to pay the $464 million fraud judgment, calling it, and I'm quoting now, a practical impossibility. CNN's Kara Scannell is joining us from New York right now. Kara, what can you tell us?
What happened? What happened? How could the guy go from suggesting he was worth double-digit billions to coming up with 464 million as a practical impossibility? If you have $10 million, that would mean you have 10 billion with a B. That would mean you have 464 million. What is that, 20 times over? That means you should be able to produce 20 different piles of $464 million, and you should have a lot more money left over. So can someone explain how we have all these clips of him saying he has 10 billion with a B or more, and when actually called upon to produce 464 million, less than 1/20th of what he said he had, he can't do it. Depends if he has 10 billion in assets and not liquid cash. Well, yeah, look, we don't expect the guy to have 10 billion in liquid cash, but 464 million, which is significantly less than 10 billion, does leave some questions to be asked. So we're asking it, have you ever heard of liquid assets? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The guy said he's worth 10 billion. So what am I missing? He's using the system because he knows how. I do agree that he is very savvy with the court system, but I want to ask you folks, what do you think? Do you think he was telling the truth when he suggested he had as much money as he stated, or perhaps was he fudging the numbers? Theodore, good afternoon or good evening. Theodore, are you there?
Mr. Hanson Liberal, thank you for having me. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. So, do you think he was telling the truth?
Oh, absolutely not. His whole gimmick was just his really good marketing. So let's be real, Mr. Hanson Liberal. U.S. banks have not lent Trump money in decades. He's been having to get his money offshore. So the idea that he's this billionaire, that's all just marketing, and he's playing off of a character that he played on the show The Apprentice. So no, he's never been a billionaire. That's all just marketing. Also, his businesses, I know folks like to say he's a real estate business guru. Mr. Handsome Liberal, all he does is just license his name to other estates in order to market their own establishments, their own businesses. Trump Tower, I live in Manhattan. Donald Trump does not actually own Trump Tower. Another company does. He's just licensing his name. That's his business model. That's it. It's all a gimmick.
So, I mean, I know we're speculating here and nobody really knows, but this guy claiming he's worth 10 billion, how much do you think he's really worth?
Probably in the millions, to be honest. But does he have it all on hands? No.
Okay.
He's most likely he probably has a lot of debt. I would assume as well because Mr. Handsome Liberal. Why would he need to get a bail bond when he first went to jail in New York? A bail bond? That guy's a bum. He's a bum.
So you definitely think he's worth a hell of a lot less than he's been letting on.
Yeah, I would say in the millions. Like he has a comfortable lifestyle. His kids are going to go to college. They'll be fine. He's a regular rich person, but a billionaire? No, absolutely not.
Wow. Well,
especially if the U.S. bank is not going to loan him money.
Yeah. Well, he went and met with Elon Musk the other day. Apparently, that didn't go as well as some folks thought it might, but he did. Because Elon Musk, we know, has the money. Elon Musk could really give it to him, but apparently that didn't go very well.
Also, he made fun of Elon Musk in his little Twitter fell. So I don't know why Elon is even hanging out with him. What was that about? I missed this.
Well, listen, when he went, Elon Musk did endorse Ron DeSantis earlier on, so we know Elon Musk leans right politically. So, I mean, there could be promises to be made if Trump gets reelected.
I suppose so. Yeah, especially with but there's the whole competition with Twitter, so it's kind of seems like not really aligning if Trump is now saying he doesn't want to get rid of Twitter.
Yeah.
Conflict of interest a bit. But I'll keep it quick. I just wanted to mention, let's be real. MAGA is just a front for upholding white supremacy.
Whoa!
Do you think an African American would ever have gotten elected with all the baggage that Trump has? Obama had to be perfect to be elected. Trump is the definition of mediocrity. A bum with how many baby mamas? How many children? How many people did he cheat on? How many businesses did he go bankrupt on? How many times has he been sued since the 70s for discrimination? He's a racist bum. He's a front for white mediocrity. I'm sorry, folks. White mediocrity, white supremacy is over, folks. You're over.
But wait a minute. You're saying that Trump is a front for white supremacy? What the hell are you getting that from? What's making you say that? Based on what? I'm
not saying it. The racists think he's on their side.
Yeah.
When during January 6th, the insurrection, did they not take down the U.S. flag and what? They installed a Trump flag? So obviously, when is the last time that's happened? Since the British burned down the White House in 1812? That's never happened before.
That was Antifa.
That was not Antifa, because if it was Antifa, why would Trump suddenly want to what? Pardon them?
Yeah.
So Trump is Antifa now, so he's a liberal. Okay, I'm for him now. I'm for Trump now.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was told that was Antifa, so I don't know about that one. So at the end of the day, no chance he has 464 million laying around, say you.
Not on hand, no, but maybe in assets and all that. Yes, again, he is probably actually genuinely rich, but the billionaire character that he plays off of from The Apprentice, which again, he was just a character that was not real. No, he's not billionaire rich. No, he's not the rich that Kanye West used to be before his gap debacle.
Well, no shit. But let me ask you this before I let you go. James O'Donnell on YouTube is saying this is not a billion. There is not a billionaire out there that can come up with $500 million basically in cash and liquid in a few days, and he doesn't own everything with his name on it. So he's saying that Trump could certainly have the money, but like what I mentioned earlier in the program, perhaps he just needs a little bit more time. Is Letitia James in New York? Are they hounding Trump too much? Are they moving too quick?
Well, I'll answer the first question. I understand what the gentleman is saying. However, again, when Trump first had to turn himself in to jail, he had to get a bail bond. The guy's a bum. Now, to your second question, is Letitia James being too hard on him? Well, this is political. But again, it has to be because he is the president. How could it not be political? Yeah. But to answer your question more directly, is she being too harsh on him? At the end of the day, he may have still done the crime. So those two things are not exclusively, aren't mutually exclusive. Is she being political? Sure, yes. Because again, he's a former president. It cannot be political. But did he actually do it? Well, he'll have his day in court, and we will all find out. So right now, we can all speculate if he did it or if he did not do it. And that was withhold documents. Oh, how many charges does he have? That's one of the charges, but he'll have his
88.
day in court. He'll
Yeah.
have his day in court, and we'll all find out. Right now, we can all speculate. I know it's fun to speculate, but right now, we'll just wait until what the court and what the jury says. That's it.
All right, fair enough, Theodore. Appreciate you coming on this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Now, certainly wanted to acknowledge that train that came through, and I think it was Speed Racer. Thank you very much. Wow, thank you. That good shit. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I did see that. I wanted to let the guest finish his comment, but 464 million. Now, like I stated, 30 days. Given 30 days, a month or so to come up with this money, which is an insane amount of money. Would it be overzealous not to give this man a little bit of an extension? Now, Trump's side is asking for either to be allowed to pay a little bit less in bond, perhaps no bond while it's on appeal, or given a bit more time. Is that unfair to ask when we're talking about $464 million? I mean, we're expecting someone to produce $500 million in cash in the span of a month. And understand, while he has assets that could be sold, due to the rapid pace where they're demanding his money, if he sells assets, he would have to sell them fire sale style, which means well below their value. And even if he was to win the appeal, because he sold his properties at such a low value, it could represent huge losses to Trump. That would be unfair. I mean, if he's found, if he has an appeal and he prevails, would it not be wrong to have had forced this man to sell his property fire sale rates that he can't recoup? Fact is, we're asking the question, with the money being demanded from Trump in such a short period of time, is this unfair? Or is this something that would happen to anyone in Trump's shoes? Or do you believe they are indeed, I don't want to say witch hunt, but they're certainly putting Trump through a ringer that they may not do to someone else? What say you? It couldn't happen to a better person, says Grateful A. And you're not the only, I've heard folks use that same statement, that it's hard to have sympathy for Trump considering the antics and rhetoric he often says. So, looking in the comments, Jackie B says, come on, he knew this was coming for a long time. He could have sold some stuff and had the money. That's, that's a legitimate point to make. They were investigating. Letitia James in New York has been investigating Trump since 2019. So we are talking 5 years. That is a legitimate point to make. Why didn't you get prepared for the possibility you might lose? I do think that is a fair point. But 30 days, is that too quick? MC, I was about to bring someone up and they dropped out in the comments. Real quick, looking in the comments, Trump never forgive his mistakes. Huh? How do you forgive? Trump never forgives. I don't quite get that. There's no difference in Trump and you and me. We would have to pay the same way. I don't know. Here is the argument being made in favor of Trump. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank fame, a lot of folks are suggesting that Trump has not done what many other real estate moguls, particularly in New York, have done before him. A lot of folks are suggesting that President Trump is being done wrong because a lot of other folks have been allowed to do exactly what he did. Whereas there's not really any victims shouting out suggesting that they've been, victimized by what he did and that he's being dragged through the ringer. I mean, it's not a small fine. This is not a small penalty by any means. This is damn near record breaking. So is what President Trump going through, coming by way of an overzealous prosecutor trying to destroy the man? Because other business folks are suggesting that they don't normally hit someone this hard. Let's try it again with MC. Good evening, MC. Welcome to the program. There you go, MC. Good evening.
Good evening.
So Trump, 464 million, given only 30 days to produce it. Is that a bit too quick?
No.
Not at all, huh? 30 days. I'm hearing folks. Let me turn my light on. But I'm hearing folks suggest that is way too quick. You don't think that's too fast?
No.
No. Come on now. What about Kevin O'Leary? You know, other businessmen stating that other folks have done this, and Trump's getting treated far worse than most folks in the same situation.
He would have got caught.
Yeah, he did. No victims, though. How do you feel about folks saying that there is no victim for what he allegedly got caught doing?
Walk us through what this means.
Hang on a second, Mike.
So Trump's
Go
lawyer-
ahead, I'm listening.
It really big.
MC? Okay, I don't know if my guess is going in. We'll move it on. His answers were short and sweet, a little bit too short and sweet. We'll keep it moving though. The general public is the victim. But did Trump victimize the general public to the tune of nearly $500 million? The point I'm asking is the fine a bit too harsh? Is the fine not necessarily due to the alleged crime or violation, but imposed at a super high rate due to the lack of, or better yet, the hatred towards Trump? Is this fine simply out of hatred of President Trump? That's what, I guess the point, to make it clear, do you believe just about any businessman in the same predicament would have received the same fine? That's what we're asking. The fine is the amount he profited off the fraud. You're saying that Trump's fraud allowed him to profit $400 million? I mean, $400 million really. So I mean, that would be substantial. I don't know. I didn't hear it that way. But you're saying that they only are fining him based on how much he received in profits from the scams he allegedly committed. $400 million, huh? I haven't heard that. Over the course of 20 years, wow. No, he's gotten away with too much. In terms of someone of Trump's stature, yeah, chances are he certainly has gotten away with a bunch of shit. That's probably anyone in his stature. Name Barber says drug dealers ain't got no victims either. I disagree with that. You said drug dealers ain't got no victims then either. Obviously, drug dealers, the entire hood is the victim. I mean, as someone who grew up on the South Side, when somebody come in and dealing drugs, all of a sudden you got what we call hypes, drug addicts. They're stealing shit to get money to buy drugs. I mean, it turns the neighborhood out. So, but I get the point you're trying to make there. Thank you, Naeem. Thank you for that super chat. We'll go right back to the box, though. We're trying to. The question we're asking is: are they being a bit overzealous on Trump? 460-something million, giving the guy only a month to come up with it. Red One, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Are they railroading this man?
No. I think that I don't think that. I think that anyone in his position is probably doing similar types of business behaviors. I think that a lot of the things that, he did what he said. Like, they caught him. He got caught. Yeah,
but he got caught, but was it due to him being president that made him look into him to begin with?
I mean, there's something to say about that. I think there is definitely a case for certain AGs who are looking to have a part in the Democratic Party in the future, trying to make a name for themselves, are definitely looking at this in positive lights. Letitia James right now is going around doing her victory lap around New York City right now.
Well, that's a hell of a victory. 464 million. Real quick on YouTube, Big E Cheese. There you go. Appreciate the sub. So, I mean, 464 million though. You think he did that much damage to demand that
Absolutely.
kind of?
You got to understand, like, the whole thing is like, this is over the course of the time. Like, the money he's been
20 years.
Over the course of what, 40 years?
Yeah, 20 years at least.
Yeah, 20 plus years, and he's been devaluating and invaluing his
his property so that he can get favorable loan rates, but not been paying contractors, doing all types of shady business practices. You got caught up in the situation. I think that with any type of elected position, those people are that you're coming in there and the opposition is going to be coming for you. And if you're not prepared for that, that's on you. If any politician would have did the same thing, they would have been roasted for it.
Yeah, but 30 days though, can they not get him? I mean, okay, right now he's suggesting that they don't have the money, they can't come up with it that quick. He's asking for either more time to be able to pay a smaller bond, or at the very least, no bond until the appeal is concluded. Do you think they should give him any kind of leeway at all? This seems kind of harsh.
I think that's definitely for the appeals courts to decide. I think that that they're going to probably extend his time. I think it makes a reasonable amount of sense. I think that 30 days is an unreasonable expectation, especially for the amount of money that they're asking for. Just anyone who has that kind of money understands that you need to have to get that liquid is absolutely crazy. You have to leverage that money some kind of way. There's no way that you have that kind of money just lying around in the safe somewhere. That's not realistic or possible.
Do you think he has it though? Check this out.
I'm really rich. I made a lot of money. I have these guys. Maybe he's not worth 10 billion. I think he's only worth 7. I'm actually worth more than 10. Well over $10 billion. Much more than that, but that's okay. I wanted to be conservative. Nobody knows what I own. The greatest assets, Trump Tower. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. Bank of America building in San Francisco. 1290 Avenue of the Americas. 40 Wall Street, sometimes referred to as the Trump building. I'm not doing that to brag. I'm not.
So, how does this match up with what's happening today?
He has money. He has more money than we have, for sure.
Well, yeah.
Does he have as much money as he says? Probably not. I mean, it's definitely a part of his image to present, that he's a very rich and successful businessman. It's a part of the package. When since Donald Trump, since the beginning, since the Apprentice days, since before he was even into politics, has been his brand. Do I think that he has the amount of money in liquid cash and I don't. We know he does it. You're spending money trying to fight all these legal battles. You're spending money still trying to campaign, and you have to. And there's no way that he has this kind of money available to him without selling assets, without getting rid of some things. And he doesn't want getting rid of assets at this point is going to make him look weak in the eyes of Rise of Nation, and they're gonna totally cream him if he has to sell any one of his landmark properties.
Well, Tukey in the comments says he lied. Karma caught up with him. Do you see any karma in this?
I mean, it's a sad situation. I definitely see some karma in it. He's been getting away with this for years, and he didn't understand that once you go into the public sphere, the rules are different. The rules are different in the public sphere than they are in the private sphere. You can get away with a whole bunch of stuff in the private sphere, but once you start be a public person or making public policy, the name of the game switches. I mean, look at Mitt Romney and back was that 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mitt Romney wasn't bragging that he was worth anywhere near $10 billion. And Mitt Romney was supposedly wealthy, but he wasn't saying he was worth anywhere near the numbers Trump is talking about.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the whole controversy with him, with the pictures of him throwing up the money. You remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
That was a whole big
Mitt Romney, for all of the fuss that the Democrats made about him, I think Joe Biden said if you vote for him, he's going to put y'all back in chains and things like that. He sure comes across as pretty damn vanilla compared to Trump nowadays. I mean,
it's completely 180.
Yeah, binders of women. Are you kidding me? I mean, you look at Mitt Romney compared to Trump, he's a teddy bear. But I do got to move it on, Red Wine. Appreciate you coming in.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
You too. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, I see someone on YouTube. We run it simultaneously on YouTube. Kanye lost $3 billion in 2 days. Wow, it can happen to any one of us by the system. Well, I don't think I necessarily agree that Kanye lost his money by the system. Thank you, world champ. Appreciate the money gun. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity. Speaking of which, folks, tap the screen. We got a considerably smaller audience here this evening. I just wanted to get on here and talk to you folks for a quick minute because of what's going on with the 30 days and him saying he can't post bonds. So if I could implore you to tap the screen on TikTok, get your boy likes up to around 15,000. I think that's about all I can ask for this evening with the smaller number. Same thing on YouTube, if you will, smash that like button. My YouTube audience is a little bit bigger than my TikTok audience today. But in regards to Kanye West losing $3 billion in a couple of days or whatever the case may be, whatever the numbers you stated, yeah, $3 billion in 2 days. The system didn't take Kanye West's money. Kanye West knew what he was doing, or better yet, saying was unpopular, and he chose to continue saying it anyway. I think Elon Musk recently had an issue like that where Walmart, major advertisers, was pulling off his site, and I think he used some kind words like "fuck you" or something like. I mean, listen, you know how the game works. You don't get to be at Trump's level, Kanye West level, or definitely not Elon Musk. I mean, you know, in certain areas you don't cross. You don't tell big advertisers "fuck you" or start talking about how great Hitler was, and you got Jewish investors. I mean, unless Kanye West is a total idiot, no, the system didn't take his money. He did some dumb shit. I mean. It would be like Senator Tim Scott showing up to a Trump rally in a Black Lives Matter outfit. I mean, you know what you can and can't do. and certainly Kanye West would have known it. So that's on Kanye West what he did. Looking in the comments, does the system help fathers under child support? No. That's fairly accurate. Child support with dads is totally off the topic, but yeah, the answer to that is generally no if you ask most dads. Going back to the box, I don't know what just happened there with my screen, but we'll go back to the box. Trump sold steaks, no money there. Who doesn't like a good steak though? Kanye's mouth cost him billions, says Alter Ego. That's a hell of a name you got to be talking about Kanye. But Alter Ego says Kanye's mouth cost him billions. That is true. And I think you could easily make the argument that Trump's mouth is what been costing him money as well. Because if Trump, I've said it numerous times on the program, I do believe Trump, simply how he ran the country, deserved to be reelected. I don't think what he did was outrageous. If take away the tweets, the insults, and the chaos that surrounded him, and you just look at him on paper, I don't see what he did that was so disqualifying to get reelected. I mean, the economy was decent. You could say he inherited from Obama, if you will, but I don't see where he would not have been reelected. It was because of how he was acting. So Trump's mouth has been costly for him. There's no denying. And I also believe that these huge judgments he's dealing with, it's also because of his mouth. Well, we know for sure the defamation case is solely based on his mouth with E. Jean Carroll, because she wasn't going after him for rape or anything like that. He decided to really say some awful things about her. So we'll go straight to the box. One of my subscribers here, Furback. Good evening. So President Trump getting asked to come up with $464 million in a month. Is that not ridiculous?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they should give him some more time.
I didn't say that.
Why not?
Well, I mean, he literally let his mouth write a check that his ass can't cash. I mean, literally.
Yeah, that's
I mean, you can't harass the courts. You can't talk crazy to judges. You like you said, any other normal businessman, keep his mouth shut and pay the fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do believe that if Trump, let's let Letitia James' investigation come to a conclusion. You got Trump being dignified. I think they would have made a deal with Trump, behind the scenes, maybe $10 million or something like that, and that shit would have went away. I think really, particularly if he wasn't running for president, I don't think running for president helps him out either as a Republican criticizing everybody. But if he was just we talk about Kevin O'Leary all the time. If he was some guy like that, no horrible reputation like he has now, I think that he got hammered a lot due to him being in the political sphere. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's possible. You know, when I always tell people, he was out of his league. He's not a politician. He doesn't move like one, and sometimes it costs you.
Yeah.
When you in that world, you gotta know how to move around, and he's getting knocked around.
Yeah, and but is that not unfair a little bit to him?
Well, my grandfather and father always told me fair is where pigs are judged. There's a lot of people in prison. A lot of people in prison are better saying what ain't fair.
That is true. A fair is where pigs get judged. Okay. I never heard that before. All right, but the man is saying it's a witch hunt. The man is saying that they want to stop him from being president, so they're trying to destroy him. What say you?
Well, if there's nothing there, then what are we stalling these trials for? If I'm an innocent man, let's wrap this up.
Well, the reason he doesn't want to wrap it up is because he thinks the courts are corrupt. So if I leave it up to the courts to decide if I'm innocent or not, they're the ones that's trying to hang me to begin with. He don't believe the courts are going to give him a fair shake.
And he's different from any other defendant. How? They all can have that story.
Well,
besides being Trump, they all got that story.
Yeah. Yeah, but he running for president believes the system is railroad. He got 74 million folks that also want this guy back in office. They believe that he's being railroaded, man.
All right, well, they should go to court with him and see what the lawyers present. Like I said, he got lawyers, they got lawyers. It's not, in that case, it's very fair. They both got ammunition, so at the end of the day, it shakes out. Letitia James won her case.
Well, let me give you an example. Okay, let's take the Fonnie Willis down there in Fulton County. They suggest that she perjured herself in court, lied in court about her relationship, yet she's still on the case. Folks are suggesting that alone shows the fix is in. Like, she's not even getting, she's not even facing consequences for her own actions.
Okay, fair. That's her opinion.
Yeah.
It's pretty messy, pretty dirty. What about the 9-0 decision from the Supreme Court? You got to say a word to me.
Yeah, and that was.
So that fell on his side. I didn't see him talking about them damn Supreme Courts.
Yeah.
And they railroaded me.
Yeah. So that's a good point. You make a good point there. When it goes against him, it's unfair. But when it goes in his favor, hey, you see I was right. So you do make a good point. Trump doesn't accept losing or having a rule go, somebody ruling against him. He doesn't accept that very well, because when he was suggesting that the election was stolen and the Supreme Court refused to hear his case, he had choice words for the Supreme Court also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like I started with, they're railroading him today, but if he wins, he's going to be kissing their ass tomorrow. So, it is what it is. That's the kind of guy we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So, and I've, side note, man, this lady called ex-MAGA Granny. I don't know if you caught up with her. I forwarded you her profile and invited her to your show. She actually did a little time for the January 6th thing.
Wow.
And now she's not MAGA anymore. And, she has a pretty interesting story, man. When, she was there, that's one account, just hers, of course, but she said there was definitely weapons there.
Oh, I would love to talk to ex-Granny MAGA. How does that go?
Ex-MAGA Granny. Her name is Pamela something, but I did forward you her.
Oh wow! So she was formerly a MAGA grandma, ex-MAGA Granny. I will certainly look that up. Wow, I'd like to hear some of her.
Let me correct you. She said she was in the MAGA cult. Her words, not mine.
Wow. How do you think that worked? Like, what would now? I understand folks favor Trump's economy. They favor it. But what?
Pamela Hemphill.
Yeah, the thing I'm wondering is, before I move it on, I understand folks favor the way Trump was directing this country significantly over Biden or even Obama. I get why a right-winger would favor Trump over, a liberal president. There's nothing wrong with that. But the cult part of it, what causes that? Because there are some folks that are really dedicated to President Trump. When he says, I can shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue, what would lead someone to be that dedicated?
Well, I think he makes them feel all warm and fuzzy when he says America first and make America great again.
Well, shit, my baby mama made me feel warm and fuzzy. I wasn't a cult member for her though.
You sure?
Yeah.
One time I'm sure. One time I'm sure you was.
Yeah, right. All right, let me get out of here. Let me get out of here before I got. Huh?
All right, brother. I said when the thrill is gone, as they say.
Right, you about to make me have a piece of cream pie. All right, appreciate it for back. All right, looking in the comments, because he's a master of propaganda and manipulation, you're suggesting that there are some folks that are really dedicated to Trump because he's a master of manipulation. Wow. But what is he manipulating? I mean, obviously suggesting he's worth millions of dollars that he may not be. Perhaps when you believe a lie is the truth and the truth is a lie, says Mike Harris. Wow, that is some mind manipulating stuff there. He gives Americans a word because he speaks and not afraid of being attacked. There's nothing wrong with that, Raptor. Nothing wrong with speaking the truth and not being afraid of being attacked. But it has to be the truth. And it has to be something where, I mean, bird brain, for instance, or nervous Nancy. I mean, yeah, you're not afraid of speaking, but you're getting attacked for stuff that is unnecessary. So I don't know if everything he says is working in his best interest. Trump manipulates comfort. Trump offers comfort to those who need it. That's Bill Clinton. I feel your pain. Is that not a good thing? I mean, is there anything wrong with doing that? They do it so they can do as little work as possible, since as Americans, there is really only two choices. True, that is true. There's only two choices. I'll go right back to the box. Real quick, some of you folks have joined since I started. I want you guys to, I'm not going to play a lot of this because I played it once before, but I do want you to hear this again. This is how Trump had a rally in Ohio. And this was on Saturday, was it? Yeah, Saturday. And it started out, the way it started out is what I'm really want to talk to you guys about. So I want you to hear just a few seconds of this before we go back to the box and get your take on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands.
Now he's saluting. He doesn't have his hand on his heart. He is saluting.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's powerful. Regardless of what you think about Trump, regardless if you think that is some patriotic shit, or you think that is straight up bullshit, that is powerful to do that to the anthem and in reference to what took place on January 6th. I think it makes it clear what President Trump thinks about those who were arrested on January 6th. I don't think there's any doubt in that. In the comments, TJ on YouTube says, wow, he's treating all those idiots like veterans. Laughing my ass off, so messed up coming from Bone Spurs and the dude who likes the vets who don't get caught. Now, obviously, well, you had athletes taking a knee during the anthem. Folks were suggesting that it was disrespectful to the country to take a knee during the anthem, and of course, disrespectful to the military. Do you believe what Trump is doing here is disrespectful to the military? Typically, when the anthem is playing, you put your hand over your heart. He's saluting, which is different. These are folks who are been convicted of a crime and they're actually incarcerated while they're singing a song with the president of the United States, who would suggest he is a law and order president. So, I mean, it really leaves a hell of a lot of questions to ask. So I want to ask that to you folks. Do you see what he was doing here as disrespectful at all? And before I continue on, just understand, folks, because folks always say, why the hell do you guys keep talking about January 6th? This video is from Saturday. This happened Saturday. This isn't something that happened 3 years ago. So this is not bringing up old news. This is what President Trump himself is doing. And it's just happened Saturday. And by the way, I could continue to, the whole rally is here on this clip here. He immediately went from the J6 choir, as they're called, to talking about how unfair they were treated on January 6th and suggesting he would pardon them. So he just said all of this on Saturday. So for anyone who wants to ask the question, why the hell do you keep talking about this as old news? No, he's talking about it. We're just discussing what he talked about. He just did this on Saturday. I see in the comments, V Nizzle says Mein Kampf. Oh, that's kind of strong. A Big Nasty says he keeps bringing it up in his damn self. Yeah, he's bringing this up. Now, that's what I'm asking you folks. Do you see what he was doing here as disrespectful to the anthem at all? You know, Colin Kaepernick style, taking the knee is disrespectful to the military. Do you see any of this? Now, I see Jay in the comments says, as a veteran, I'm offended. Wow. He's calling prisoners hostages as if they are innocent and being taken. This is disrespectful. Ladora Bird says, he's not the president and never will be against this tyranny. I'm not for certain of that. The polls don't agree with that. He's not the damn president, says we'll bring it up. Listen, folks, I get it. But once you've held the office, we call you president. That's how it kind of works. President Obama, President Clinton, President Reagan. That's how it always is called. Even though he wasn't there that day, I feel he was still behind this. Keith wasn't what day? Wasn't in the Capitol building. Let me go back to the box. We'll make it happen with Red G. Good evening and welcome to the program. Do any of you folks feel Red G, do you see him taking a salute with this song in the back? Do you see this as disrespectful at all?
No, and I also want to make it clear that kneeling during the anthem was also not disrespectful. I, a very well-studied person, have never heard of any culture anywhere in any period of time where kneeling was considered disrespectful. It doesn't exist.
Okay. Well, you do understand most folks on the right thought Colin Kaepernick taking the knee was disrespectful, though, including...
I heard that, but that's ridiculous.
Okay.
When you go before your wife to get married, you kneel. When you are before God, you kneel. There's no place where it's disrespectful to kneel. It's just, that's not a thing. Wow. That's anywhere.
So all of these shirts, I stand, for the anthem, I kneel for the cross and things like that. So you see... Go ahead.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Well, Trump suggested that if he done it, I would say get that son of a bitch off the field. Yeah. So, but at the same time, you don't see this January 6th choir The way they're performing the anthem. He's actually doing the anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance at the same time. They're singing the anthem, and he is inserting excerpts from the Pledge of Allegiance on top of it. You don't see any of this as disrespectful either, right?
The anthem is disrespectful in itself, and it should have been changed a long time ago.
Explain.
Our national anthem, talking about slavery, is disrespectful to human beings.
Yeah, you talking about the third and fourth verse gets pretty. When it kind of tried to
even making it the national anthem, that's disrespectful to take a song like that. So here we go. That's disrespectful.
Wow. Okay, now that's different. I haven't heard that recently. I have heard. So you believe that we should change the national anthem entirely due to it mentioning slavery?
Right.
In 2024.
Get a better song.
I mean,
get a better song. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
get a better one.
Yeah, I mean, but it's been out a couple hundred years though, Reggie.
I don't care. We had Articles of Confederation. Nobody had the authority to change that, and they did it anyway. So here we are. We could change that. You can definitely change the song.
So, taking in consideration that they do talk about slavery rather in the anthem, why do you think so many people are opposed to changing it to a new song?
I mean, a lot of people don't like change. A lot of people don't want to change. They don't have respect for people of color or anything like that. So they don't want to change it. Wow. And that's okay. That's your opinion. You got First Amendment. Go ahead.
Yeah. You said no respect for people of color. Wow. 2024, you think that's still really a big thing?
For us to claim that this is our nation's fucking anthem, yeah, that's. I think that's supremely fucking disrespectful. Yeah. But that's just my opinion.
How do you feel about Lift Every Voice and Sing? Some suggesting that is the black national anthem.
That would be better. That
would be better than Oh Say Can You See?
It would be better. As long as it's not Cardi B or something, I think
you wouldn't stand and salute wet ass pussy?
It's really not maybe a different nation. I don't know.
Okay.
But I also wanted to say, when it comes to January 6th, I know people are going to be mad. We arrested several civil rights leaders. So there's people who stand up for their rights. You have the right to stand up to a tyrannical government. And our government has been tyrannical all over the world for quite some time. So for him to salute them, I don't see it as such a problem like everybody else.
Okay. They're in prison, though.
Right. So Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, a lot of people died. A lot of people didn't even make it to jail.
Yeah, but the folks that Martin Luther King was affiliating with were verifiably wrong. Fighting for civil rights. The folks that were arrested for January 6th were fighting for a cause that to this day cannot be proven valid. They were fighting under the guise that Trump had the election stolen from him. Do you believe the election was stolen?
In retrospect, we can look back and say that was wrong. At the time, there was a lot of people saying, hey, y'all need to stop this. This is an insurrection. This is terrible. So we got to remember, there was riots for years. People were burning stuff down.
Okay. Calling for the lynching of a VP.
What does the Second Amendment say?
Nothing about taking out the vice president.
What does it say?
You're talking about in terms of tyranny.
Right. What do you think? What do you think a tyrannical person or a tyrannical government is going to do? You think they're just going to stop because you asked nicely? Well, are they giving you the right to bear arms for you to just look at them? No.
So let me say this in regards to. Here's the problem I have. In regards to owning a firearm to stop tyranny, that never made any sense to me. Because in America, I mean, we started out as a country where only white property owners could vote. Women couldn't vote until the 1920s. Blacks didn't get civil rights until the 1960s. Gays were not allowed to get married until 2015. Have we not been tyrannical the whole time during the Second Amendment? That didn't stop anything.
No, it does, because how did we get to all these places? A lot of people want to sit here and act like, because they marched peacefully, this should happen. No, there was riots. There was violence for years for all of this.
It wasn't with guns.
Hold on. There was a civil war. No,
the point I'm making is this. Whether we're talking Susan B. Anthony getting women the right to vote, Martin Luther King getting civil rights for blacks, or even with Abraham Lincoln freeing slaves, in none of these cases did we defeat tyranny with a gun. It didn't happen that way.
How did slavery end?
Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. It wasn't because in the North.
It wasn't a civil boycott. It was a civil war.
Yeah, but it was.
These are facts.
No, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and for the most part left the South to their own devices, and they pretty much created slavery right back again. They just didn't call it that. We didn't get out of this stuff with a gun, is what I'm saying. Blacks.
And this country has ever happened without violence. This country became independent with violence. Slavery ended with violence. The civil rights movement ended with riots and violence. To pretend anything else is a lie, you would be lying.
No, but it did not end by way of a gun. Martin Luther King did not accomplish what he accomplished by way of the gun. That's what Malcolm X wanted to do.
Lifetime. It did not happen in his lifetime. He was shot in the head.
Right.
He was dead.
But what I'm saying is, when you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964, we didn't accomplish that with guns.
Yes, we did, with violence. Yeah, we did.
Wait a minute. You keep replacing my word guns with violence. Now, I agree with you, riots took place, but they didn't accomplish civil rights for black people with guns. That didn't do it.
But you're being, I don't know if you're willfully being dishonest here, or if you're actually confused. Or do you think that everybody put their guns down while all the violence was happening? Is that what you think was happening during the riots? Do you think, what are you talking about?
I see, okay, Rosa Parks, for instance. You think that the guns is the reason why?
Was she arrested?
Yeah.
Oh, she was arrested, right?
Yeah.
And there was riots, yes?
No, they boycotted the bus companies until they caved.
And there was also riots. So you're looking from the history books, but you have to actually look at what actually happened. So we can look at the George Floyd thing, right? And we can say, oh yeah, eventually they came and did the right thing. No, they fucking burned Minneapolis down, and then they did the right thing. Well, you're not looking at the actual.
I think
when we put it in the books, we're going to ignore the fact that they burnt down whole neighborhoods. We're going to ignore that. But in reality, what happened was violence.
Yeah, you and I agree on the violence part. Where we disagree is on the guns part. I'm saying that I believe that the George Floyd case, for instance, where now cops have to use body cams and they've banned chokeholds and things like that, it came by way of what you're talking about, violence and riots. But I don't think it came by way of the gun. That's where I disagree with you on.
Our government only moves when you're dealing with money or violence.
Period. Okay, all right.
It is what it is.
Do you believe that Black Lives Matter could have still accomplished whatever the hell they accomplished without guns?
No, it's an insane concept.
Okay, all right. Well, we listen. At the end of the day, we don't always have to agree. Nevertheless, it did happen. I think you and I agree there. We certainly agree that it took some violence to get it. You just have a different opinion of what was used to commit the violence. But I do got to move it on to Red G. Appreciate you coming in. Always welcome back. Hey, you too. Thank you. Look in the comments. Truth Seeker said, "What did they accomplish?" Oh man, Black Lives Matter accomplished a lot. Whether it's George Zimmerman for the Trayvon Martin case, at least, even though he was found not guilty, he was not even going to be charged. They had gave him his gun back and they took his word that it was a justifiable act of self-defense and sent the guy home. Same thing with Ahmaud. What was the guy that was jogging down in Georgia, and the three guys in the pickup truck, Ahmaud Diallo, whatever his name was. I can't think of his name right now. But he too, when Black Lives Matter show up in these areas, what they claim, which is that Black lives didn't matter, we could say there's some validity to them, because they were gonna wrap these cases up. Ahmaud Arbery, they were going to wrap these cases up until Black Lives Matter started showing up. And like my last guest talked about, well, if you don't do something, your town's going to burn down. Violence, as he points out. So Black Lives Matter had a hell of a lot of folks held accountable where they were not going to be held accountable. 4 days before Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis ended up being even charged with the death of George Floyd. It was all on television. You've seen what you've seen, even if you think the 9 minutes was the 9 minutes followed by a unconscious George Floyd happened because of COVID or fentanyl. It was all over television. You see a live guy resisting under a cop for 9 minutes and then he comes out unconscious. That was on television for 4 days and they were not charging Derek Chauvin. Black Lives Matter comes down there. A few places decide to heat up, perhaps maybe a few structures to around 10,000 degrees, a few bricks through the window, things like that. Next thing you know, Derek Chauvin is getting charged. It's pretty clear that without Black Lives Matter, Derek Chauvin probably was not going to be charged of that crime. And there's a host of those. There's been a host of those type of cases where if Black Lives Matter didn't show up, there was going to be no accountability. So when you say what did they accomplish, it's that. Not to mention, chokeholds have been banned in departments all over the country. Body cameras must be worn by departments all over the country. All of that stuff is Black Lives Matter. We can talk about fascism, Marxism, wasting donated money and things like that, but the idea that they didn't accomplish anything is wrong. Without them, there's a lot of folks that are in prison right now that would probably still be police officers or still cutting lawns in their neighborhood, enjoying their home. Without Black Lives Matter, they've had a lot of people held accountable. So I don't buy into that they didn't accomplish anything. You may not like some of the things they accomplished, or you may want to point out some of the things that you feel they got away with. Okay, so another good example, Ferguson. Now the death of Brown, I can't think of his first name, but his last name was Brown in Ferguson, turned out to be a justifiable kill. He was the guy who went into the store and strong-armed and took out some merchandise out of the store, walking in the middle of the street. And the cop ended up shooting him, left him laying in the street for some time, and folks went down there and burned Ferguson to pieces. Turned out to be a justifiable shoot by the police, but once again, President Obama's top cop, whose name, once again, I can't remember right now, but he went down there and they investigated Ferguson, turned that police department upside down. Lots of racism, lots of discretionary tickets going strictly to black people, minorities, and the town was mostly black. Just there was a smaller percentage of whites there. But anyway, without Black Lives Matter, you would have never discovered that. They were literally profiting off of like jaywalking tickets, and when I say discretionary, tickets that are not mandatory. You don't have to get his ticket out. The cops were doing this overwhelmingly to minorities. Black Lives Matter. That's another one for Black Lives Matter. And in fact, that entire police department, which was mostly white, is now mostly black. So they accomplished a lot. I mean, and I could go on, and I haven't, and I'm just coming off the dome. I'm just coming off the top of my head of things I know. There's a lot more out there. So the idea that they did not accomplish anything is flat out false. Takesha Bowie, good afternoon. We're talking about President Trump. Is he being dragged through the ringer? Good evening, Takesha.
I'm back.
Hey. So, good to have you. Good evening. So, we're talking $464 million in a month. Is that not unfair?
Listen. If get in the box, somebody cop.
Okay, she's got a phone call apparently. All right, we're moving on, Takesha, if you got a phone call. All right, moving the program on. And I see someone on YouTube said, so crime was never reported into Black Lives Matter. No, crime was reported, Tekken on YouTube. No, it was reported. The accountability factor is different. Just like during the Martin Luther King era, 50s, 60s, blacks were reporting crime. There just was no type of recourse. Nobody gave a damn. They've always reported it, but you got to depend on the law enforcement community to actually take it seriously. And as we pointed out, George Zimmerman with Trayvon Martin was the perfect example where he's on the phone with 911 already profiling Trayvon Martin as a criminal walking through the neighborhood at night. 911 is telling him, let us handle it. He's like, no, these people always get away with it. I'm going to go follow this guy through the night with a pistol on me. And somehow, some way, he catches up to Trayvon Martin, and supposedly Trayvon Martin just started attacking the guy and he had to shoot him in self-defense. That story was not even questioned. They gave George Zimmerman his gun back within a couple hours and sent him home. And that was the end of that. They had wrote that up as self-defense until Sharpton and Black Lives Matter went down there. And then the whole thing got investigated a bit more. And he was found not guilty, but at the end of the day, at least he had to answer to what actually happened. They didn't just take his damn word for it. There was another case in Florida. Florida seems to be a very interesting state for some of this stuff. It was a stand your ground case. I cannot think of any other names. An older white guy saw a black couple parked. They went into a gas station. I'll narrate the story and you guys will know what I'm talking about. A younger black couple parked at a gas station. Apparently they parked in a handicapped parking space. The boyfriend got out and went into the gas station. The old man started arguing with the girlfriend that was left behind in the car. So the boyfriend went in the gas station to make a purchase, and the old man is arguing with the girlfriend about them parking in a handicapped space. The old man is not even in the damn car. He's just out in front of the gas station going off on them. The boyfriend came out of the gas station, saw the old man arguing with his girlfriend, and pushed the old man to the ground. The old man pulled out a pistol, shot the guy in the chest, and killed him. They wrapped that up as self-defense. All he did was push the man to the ground. And they were okay with the old man using deadly force to solve a conflict that he initiated. Once again, Black Lives Matter to the damn rescue. They came down there. All of a sudden, that self-defense case was no longer good enough. He ended up being held accountable, tried in a court of law, and he will spend the rest of his life in prison. That's the difference. Without Black Lives Matter, that old man would still be home somewhere. So that's another case I'm coming with. Like I said, off the dome. I can come up with a bunch of these. But it ain't just me coming up with them. I don't see it up here, but yeah. I know a lot of them because of Ben Crump's book. Ben Crump worked on a lot of those cases. So I do read occasionally, and yeah, Ben Crump has them in his book because he's worked on a lot of those cases. But yeah, Black Lives Matter has accomplished a bunch of shit. Folks just don't want to give him credit for it. Looking in the comments, like many are now home free. Yeah, but yeah, that guy would have been home free as well. The other gentleman that had a 16-year-old African-American kid knock on his door. I believe he was trying to ask for directions or something like that, and the old man shot him through the door, hit him once, came outside, and told him, don't you ever come back over here again. I think he tried to shoot him again or something like that. It's cases like that where they'll just wrap that shit up as self-defense. But Black Lives Matter come down there and all of a sudden, listen, as opposed to shit getting burned up and all of a sudden it's making national news, maybe we should decide to open up a case and see what really happened. That's what ends up happening. I could be wrong, but I do believe behind the scenes you have either upper management in law enforcement or even some at the political level like mayor or city council or something like, listen, Ben Crump or Al Sharpton is here now. As opposed to what we've been doing, maybe we should just, listen, let's go ahead and give it to the courts and let them take whatever course on this. Wrapping this up at this point is not going to happen. These people are not going to go away. And the numbers of them are going to grow. I mean, there's a CNN van down there, and that's the kind of shit that happens. Looking in the comments, we need the Black Panthers back. I don't know. Now, my last caller suggesting that violence with the gun is how we accomplish that. I don't know if I agree with that. And the Black Panthers were similar to Malcolm X, they believe doing it by violence. I don't know. I don't know if that's always the best way. But let me quit talking and go to Stick, the ruler, who's been holding on. Good evening, Stick.
What's going on, handsome?
Hey, what's up? So, $464 million in a month. Is that unfair?
No, not when you say you got it.
Yeah,
I mean, you say you got it. You know, his problem is he went over there and he hung out with Putin. And, you know, Putin's a real billionaire. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure of that.
I mean, yeah, he probably did some things to get that money, but he's worth $200 billion.
Wow.
So when you got somebody that's worth $200 billion, and you, I think at one time he was saying he was worth 17, but they were saying.
Well, wait. Who was worth 17?
Trump. He was supposed to be worth $17 billion.
Well, let me before you finish that, I'll play the clip for you. It's only about 20 seconds.
Okay.
Because I don't know. That's quite a bit.
I think he's only worth
17, but
7. Really rich. I made a lot of money. I'm really rich. I made a lot of money. You know, I have these guys. Maybe he's not worth 10 billion. I think he's only worth 7. I'm actually worth more than 10. Well over $10 billion. Much more than that, but that's okay. I want to be conservative. Nobody knows what I own. The greatest assets, Trump Tower. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. Bank of America building in San Francisco. 1290 Avenue of the Americas. 40 Wall Street, sometimes referred to as the Trump building. I'm not doing that to brag. I'm not doing that to brag because you know what? I don't have to brag. I don't have to, believe it or not. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. Net worth, not assets, not liability. A net worth. I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using the...
I mean, is it coming back to haunt him or something?
Hey, I mean, you telling all these people you worth all of this money. And you actually said in the deposition, I got $400 million in cash on hand. And then when they come back and they say, okay, well, give us 385 of it, you be like, well, hold on, let me hold something.
Well, and now those clips you're laughing at, those are, they're over the years, but here is probably the most important clip. This came from Wolf Blitzer. This one only is about 6 hours old.
Okay.
Breaking news just coming into CNN right now. Attorneys for former President Donald Trump say they're unable to get a bond to pay the $464 million fraud judgment, calling it, and I'm quoting now, a practical impossibility. CNN's Kara Scannell is joining us from New York.
Impossible to come up with four. Now, he says he's worth $10 billion, so this is only 1/20th, actually less than that. This is less than 1/20th of what he was saying he was worth in those other videos. Now when it's time to actually cough it up, he's practically impossible. So do you think he was lying about his own net worth?
I feel like, yeah, he was lying. I mean, you got Jay-Z probably richer than him. You got
You think that's bad. You think Jay-Z and Beyonce got more money than Trump? I mean, he could be right.
Yeah, that ain't bad. They billionaires. I mean, Jay-Z hit the billionaire. Dr. Dre hit the billionaire. I mean, they got billions. I mean, let's just be honest. Right now, if Jay-Z had to give up $385 million, he'd be like, all right, hold on.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't he have a song like that? $50,000, would you please remind me? So he has a song where he says, what's $50,000 to an N-word like me, would you please remind me? So I want to ask that in regards to what you just did. In the comments, by way of yes or no, folks, how many of you guys think that Jay-Z and Beyonce are worth more than President Trump? Yes or no in the comments. Jay-Z and Beyonce are worth more than Trump.
I didn't even include Beyonce. That's
just Jay-Z. Well, okay, just Jay-Z alone,
Just Jay-Z.
Damn.
Yeah, just Jay-Z. At one time, Kanye West was richer than him because he had at least $2.2 billion. So Kanye West was richer than him. Then you got who else? LeBron James is an active NBA.
Yeah, he's worth $1 billion. Yeah. Jordan, I'm assuming Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's a billionaire. Yeah. You got Oprah. He's not as rich as Oprah. I mean, we can go on and on and on with people that are billionaires, but the one billionaire that like I said, that stands out is Putin. He's worth $200 billion.
Yeah. Well, he got Putin can walk up to anybody in the country and say, "Give me your damn money." I mean, it's easy to be rich when nobody got a choice.
But regardless of the fact, that's what Donald Trump wants. He's doing it right now. He's doing it right now in the form of send me your money, donations.
You think
right?
You think Trump wants to be Putin-like powerful?
Yeah, because he wants to be a billionaire. He wants to be. He probably wants to be the first trillionaire. Knowing Trump, like his mind is not on what everybody else wants. His mind is only on what he wants.
Here's the crazy thing. I can see Elon Musk or somebody. I mean, at the end of the day, Trump is almost 80. Dude, you ain't gonna be around. I mean, you're pushing for money that is meaningless at this point. I mean, you're not gonna be around no more than 15 years max. You ain't Betty White. I mean, it's over with. I can hear the fat lady in the background.
That does not matter with him. That what you saying right now is like not even in his head. Trump thinks because he thinks he's a billionaire, he feels that he's going to do what everybody else does that has reached that level. Live at least to be 120 years old, like a Rockefeller or somebody.
Yeah.
He wants to be one of them.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the person who lives like that doesn't, that lives like that is not even focused on the money. That's Jimmy Carter. Out of all of the presidents we've had in our lifetime, he probably would be one that was the least focused on money, and his ass is still living right now. He ain't dead yet. I mean, so Jimmy Carter probably would be the best one out of all of them in terms of morality. He ain't dead yet, and he wasn't big on. I mean, he was a peanut farmer. He wasn't poor, but he certainly wasn't trying to do like Trump type money. He wasn't even focused on that.
But that's the thing of it. I mean, Forrest Gump wasn't focused on money, but look what happened with Bubba Gump Shrimp.
Yeah.
So
well said.
Then also, you got to remember too, he had Lieutenant Dan to put in for Apple for him. He said he thought it was a fruit company. So I mean,
sometimes fortune can find you.
Yeah, well, people that have a pure heart, you know what I'm saying. I think that's what that story was about with Forrest. People that have a pure heart tend to do all right because once people figure you out and say, "Oh man, he's harmless. He don't mean nothing for nobody," they want the world for you, versus you want the world for yourself. And I think that's Trump's problem, along with his mouth, which probably is first. His mouth gets him in trouble.
That is true.
His mouth has got him in trouble. Yeah, that. What you just played in the background, all of that capping about how much money he got, and now he can't even.
It don't look good. Yeah, it don't look good.
Cedric the Entertainer said it best. He thought it was going to be a black president that said I could put something on it, but it ended up being Trump.
Wow. It would be crazy if he went to the courts and asked them, because right now he's asking them to either let him put something, let me put something on it, on the bond. It would be crazy if the judge pulled out this video and was like, what are you talking about? I mean, look, you say you got $10 million and made him explain this. But real quick before I move it on with you, we were talking about Jay-Z earlier in the comments on YouTube. James says Jay-Z worth $2.5 billion, President Trump worth 2.6, and he said, I don't think they have, talking about Jay-Z, I don't think they have $500 million in cash, not even Jay-Z. So some folks are saying that Jay-Z ain't got it like that compared to Trump, but...
Well, tell that to some of his underlings that used to rap for him. I mean, they got documentaries saying how Jay-Z, they knew he was a millionaire a long time ago. But because of who he was kind of low-key, quiet, kept to himself. Him and Dame Dash went through a little something. Dame Dash was a little bit more Donald Trumpish.
Right.
He was out there, loudmouth, talking crazy. Not really crazy. He just was feeling himself. And once Jay-Z said, I can do this on my own because I'm the talent, he just took off. Yeah. He ended up being a co-owner of a team in the NBA. He's got all these businesses. Ciroc. I mean, no, not Ciroc. The Duce. That's what he has. He has Duce. Yeah. And so just being a mogul, Rockaware and all of this other stuff he got going on, And then on top of that, he got a beautiful wife out there. She got her career, and they just dog.
Is he worth more than her?
I don't even know, man. Don't get me the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really are a true power couple. You don't know which one of them is worth. They both worth probably worth damn near $1 billion almost independently.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Jay-Z is worth $1 billion. I don't know about Beyonce, but right about now, I assume she is. She's at least worth like 1.6 billion or something like that. You got Taylor Swift, they out there making, you know what I'm saying? You got.
Yeah, I mean, Beyonce could damn near fill up a basketball arena for $400-500 a ticket. Her draw is ridiculous. All right, well, I do got to move it on. That's crazy though that a rapper and a member of Destiny's Child is worth more than Trump. I gotta move it on though, man. Wow, that's crazy.
And just keep this in your head, Handsome, that the person that he wants to be like is Putin, because even though he took everybody money, but he's considered a billionaire on paper. Yeah. You go right now, you look it up, 200 billion. Wow. He wants to be a president, and he wants to be worth at least that.
You'd have to make some serious alterations to the way this country is ran to be like Putin, though. I mean, Americans would not accept the Putin-type leadership in this country without some serious violence. And Trump don't have enough time left on earth, I believe, to do that. I mean, America would have to really be softened up. You'd have to take away everybody's guns, as my last caller was talking about, because folks don't believe in tyranny with them damn guns. So you'd have to really change hearts and minds in this country, and it would take years to do that.
You ain't got to change your heart and mind. All you got to do is be a dictator for a day. And then you just take everybody's money, put it in your account. He already doing it to the RNC.
Wow.
He already got their money.
But they handing it up. They put his daughter-in-law in there, so they kind of handing it over. So, yeah, you make a good point. Got to move it on, Stick. Thanks for coming through.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. You too. Good night. Looking in the comments, are we making a GoFundMe for Trump Tower? Well, the man said he's worth billions. So, I kind of wonder, during the Trump administration, when he was suggesting that he wasn't going to show his taxes until the audit was complete, and we know that turned out not to be true. He wasn't going to show his taxes at all. I'm wondering if it was because the numbers wouldn't measure up to what he had been saying. Because he suggested he would show him, Grandma, thank you for the hat and mustache this evening. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen, by the way. I haven't been soliciting that. Tap the screen, get your boy likes up to around 50,000. We only got a couple hundred in here, so it's a much smaller audience. But I kind of wonder if that's why he didn't release his taxes as he stated he would, because the numbers wouldn't measure up. Now, Trump is a controversial fellow, so regardless if everything Trump did was right, there's going to be liberals that are going to scrutinize him, because that's how politics is ran. But I kind of wonder that. Public and private taxes, he ain't got to show nothing to organization. Well, here's the problem that I believe. Like right now, folks are going to suggest that Biden is, because of his cognitive issues or whatever, he's dodging debates with Trump. Maybe. That may be true. I don't know. But here's the point. What I'm trying to make is, when you allow someone to essentially skip out or void tradition, you can't complain when the next man did it. And Trump is just really changing tradition in a bunch of ways. Correspondence dinner, no. Super Bowl interviews, no. President candidate not showing their taxes, no. President candidate not, having debates, no. Look, he has a right to do all of that. But you can't entertain him having the right to do it and then complaining when the next man don't. He is changing tradition in ways that you're okay with him because he's a favorable candidate of yours, but you want everybody else to do it. And that's not how it works. Now all of a sudden, any presidential candidate can say, well, Trump didn't show his taxes, why should I have to show mine? Trump didn't have a correspondence dinner, you were okay with that. He didn't have a Super Bowl interview, you were okay with that. Like when Biden decided not to participate in the Super Bowl interview this year, folks on the Trump camp said that Biden was dodging, but they didn't mention the fact that Trump didn't show up in 2017. When the Super Bowl was on NBC, Trump said NBC is a liberal network. I'm not going to get a fair shake. He didn't show up. All of a sudden, Biden doesn't do it, and it's suddenly wrong again. But the point I'm trying to make is Trump is opening up the door for people in the future to do things you're not going to like. I know, and I've said this many times. And I'll go back to the box real quick. But there are a few issues I think that once Trump is gone, you're going to have anti-Trump laws, I think. Bipartisan. It won't be just the liberals. I think the Republicans will wholeheartedly agree. What are the bipartisan laws I'm talking about? Things that Trump pushed the envelope in ways that the founding fathers never intended. Meaning, I don't believe anyone would resist the notion in the future, once Trump is out of the way, whether he serves a term and he's gone, decides not to run, passes away, you name it. I don't think you'll get any resistance once Trump is out of the way if you say, from this point on, a felon cannot run for president. Or from this point on, someone facing dozens of charges have to have their cases adjudicated before they run for president. And when I say bipartisan support, I mean if we had to ask the Republican Senate and in Democratic Senate, Republican House and Democratic House these same questions 10 years ago, they would have all agreed. A presidential candidate that has felony charges that are pending, should he be able to run? I think everybody would have said no. Should he be able to be president if he is convicted and incarcerated? I don't think anyone would have had a problem saying no to that 10 years ago. And I don't think they will have a problem saying no to that once Trump is out of the picture. If a presidential candidate, or better yet, if the president of the United States themselves commits a crime while in office, should they be able to pardon themselves for said crime? 10 years from now, everyone will agree, no, you can't do that. No, you cannot do that. But right now we're dealing with the Trump factor, so folks are going to be willing to bend the law, so to speak, to defend Trump. 10 years before Trump came on the scene, I think everybody would agree. 10 years after Trump is gone, I think everybody will agree that you can't pardon yourself. You can't be president if you're a felon. You can't be president if you're facing several felony charges that have not been adjudicated yet. I don't think anyone will have a problem with that. But you got to wait till Trump is out of the picture before that happens now, because folks want Trump back in office. Looking in the comments real quick, why don't he get the money from his daughter who got billions while she was in the White House? It's a good point. You talking about the Jared Kushner thing? That's a good point. Listen, I don't think everybody believes Trump is going to beat those damn charges. That's why if Trump loses and he hasn't put the $400 and some odd million up, he can do all kinds of shit to prevent them from taking it from him. Overseas, hide it out, whatever. If you give them the damn bond, if you give them the money, they get to hold on to your shit until you win. And I don't think Trump has a chance of winning the appeal unless he wins the election. Same thing with E. Jean Carroll. The hope is that Trump can win the election, gain power, and then do things to manipulate folks that are overseeing these cases. Do you want to put $400 and some million in behind somebody hoping they win the election? I mean, this isn't Trump going up against Nikki Haley and Chris Christie. He's going up against Biden. The poll numbers are not that great versus Biden as they were versus Nikki Haley or somebody like that. He was a sure thing to be the Republican nominee. He's not a sure thing to be president. He's leading in the polls, but it ain't like it's a landslide like in the Now, listen, if I had to put up a bunch of money hoping that he would win a Republican nomination, count me in. But him winning the White House is a different story. So some of these folks are like, these 30 different bond companies turned him down. That's what his lawyers are saying for this $400 and some million. If he doesn't win the presidency, you'll never see your $400 million again. You'll never, because they're going to, it's in bond. They're going to just give that to Letitia James if he loses the appeal. If he doesn't win the election, that money's gone. So folks are like, I'm not going to risk that. That's the reason why he's having a hard time getting somebody. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to take a gamble on. We'll keep it moving. Takesha, good. Let me see if it brings back up. Name your sore. I don't quite get that. Oh, I brought up King Finn. Good afternoon or good evening.
What's happening?
Not much at all. They're going after Trump for $494 million, only giving that man a month to come up with it. Is that a bit overzealous?
I don't think so, because what everybody seems to forget is that these cases and these people that are dealing with these cases are all under death threat. All of them, because all of them are receiving death threats. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
So saying that, 490, 494, whatever you want to say, $500 million. So what? He got it, right? All his money, all these properties he got, all the money he done made over the years, he got it, right?
Yeah,
all
but
the failed casinos, all the failed businesses, he got the $500 million, right? He
okay,
got it, right?
Yeah, but only giving hold on a second. It's a difference between having the money and somebody only giving you a month to come up with it. Should they give him a little bit more time?
I don't think so. Have you waited long enough? He been saying that the presidency was stolen for 3 years.
Yeah.
He could have let that go 3 years ago. How come now we got a time limit when it's time for him to do something that he's supposed to fucking do? It's like the taxes. He should have let go of those taxes day one when he filed. That is the usual standard operating procedure. Day one, tax returns. When he was talking about Obama not being a citizen of the United States, he could have upped them taxes. They asked him about that. And what did he say? He said, I didn't pay my taxes. That makes me smart.
Yeah,
so what you trying to say? Everybody that do pay their taxes is stupid?
Yeah, he did say something. He did say something like
Just
that.
like that shit show you played earlier with that disgusting ass song that was playing. That is completely disrespectful to the American flag, completely disrespectful to America itself. He is running for the president of the United States of America, not the United States of Trumplandia or fucking Fantasyland or any of that. And saying that those people are hostages, come on. Wait a minute. Ain't he the one to say he don't like his prisoners of war getting captured?
Whoa!
He say, John McCain was a bum because he got captured.
Yeah.
What did he say to the 5-star families?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah, he did say that my war heroes don't get
He said
captured.
he those people. My war heroes don't get captured. For real? These heroes, these so-called great and peaceful people who had a love fest at the Capitol, which was a closed fucking building that they were trying to do official country, state, and city certifying of election. This is DC, the biggest capital in the damn United States.
But let me run this back. We talked about. But hold on, let me run this back because you mentioned Trump, the way he talked about paying taxes and you're stupid. Now on YouTube, I am inevitable. I love the name says you got to be real stupid to sit here and talk about paying taxes is smart. They already. But it says tax our money multiple ways, not paying those taxes by using the laws that they placed are smart. So he's saying is what Trump did is a smart thing to do.
Oh, it is? Okay, so you do realize where those taxes go, right? Ask him that. Does he realize where the taxes go? We pay taxes for reasons because civil servants like police, everybody who backs the blue, that's why we pay those taxes. The firefighters, the people who come in and save your shit when it burns up and lit that stupid ass campfire the wrong way in your backyard.
Yeah.
That's what they pay for. The schools, the roads, transportation, all that stuff comes out of our taxes. So if you don't pay your $600 tax bill, that's one thing. But Trump not paying 6 to 7 years, maybe 10 years of billionaire taxes? Don't you think that's quite another?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that? I mean, I'm just saying.
So let me present it to you this way.
And wait. Even further. Hold on. Wait, Tim. Even further. When I don't pay my taxes, the IRS comes after me. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right.
They'll take your house, your job, garnish you, take your car, the whole nine. How come that boy ain't got them? Where that money at?
Yeah, that is.
Somebody need to knock on the IRS door like, yo, y'all need to get this, bro. Where that money at?
So
do I care about him having to give that $500 billion up? No.
So let me ask you this: Do you think he would be ordered to pay this kind of money if he wasn't running for president?
I don't know, but I mean, I can honestly say if I really want to look at it straight business, probably not. But the thing of it is.
So wait a minute. You said probably not. So you're admitting there's partial wish on here.
I'm not. I'm admitting it might be and I'm not not gonna say witch hunting. I'm saying he put himself into the focus of America by running for the president. Maybe he wouldn't have got. Maybe it wouldn't have been that bad. Just like this Letitia James thing, it might not would have been that bad for him just to if he shut up and he wasn't running for president. Okay, because it did. It put him in a great focal point for the American people. But now that you are in that focal point, because you are running for the president of America, why the hell would you do the shit he done did? I don't understand.
Because it was working, because it was popular, because it was a lot of folks like Trump because he speak his mind. Though a lot of folks like that, King.
I ain't even talking about the speaking your mind, bro. The raping, the assault, the money. Come on, man. He's living in the 70s with Rockefeller and trying to be Rockefeller, man. Come on, that's not reality. That's not reality. He's trying to stay in Mad Men times. You can't do that shit right now. You didn't see all that shit. Jeffrey Epstein. What's that boy name? Harvey. What was his name?
Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein.
Popped up. Harvey Weinstein. You can't do that, man.
It isn't.
I hear you when you be saying it all the time. You be like, oh yeah, well he got Roe versus Wade pulled off the books. He repealed that. That's something great for one small demographic of people, because most people that hear that are disgusted by the fact that women actually have the freedom to choose about their own body, and this idiot took it away.
Well, then
it sounded like The Handmaid's Tale.
Well, before I'm moving on, they're going to say that Trump did not take away a woman's right to choose, that he handed it back to the states. You still can have an abortion. You just have to go to states where it's legal.
So wait, and then you got to show a police report of sexual assault. I don't care about none of that. It's not your business. It's not my business. It's not. I understand about the brothers who be like, oh man, that's messed up. She's trying to kill my kid. I get that. That's when you can use the court system or try to use something like the court system to slow that down or have a deep conversation with that. But again, just like anything else, that's in somebody else's house. That's their business.
That is true.
You don't have the right to tell women what to do with their bodies.
Okay, well then, last question. Okay, last question. Then, when you start talking about you don't have a right to tell women what to do with their bodies, if what you're saying is so true, why the hell are there so many female MAGA out there? You got a lot of women supporting.
Because I don't know. I can't tell you. Because to me, it just sounds like them listening to the bird talk in their ear or something. Maybe their husbands is behind them saying, you need to say this. Or they think they're going to gain some type of power, because that's what it always comes down to with MAGA and the Republicans. Unfortunately, I'm saying Republicans, not a lot of them left, actual conservative Republicans is what I'm talking about. But MAGA comes down to money. MAGA equals money, because it's all about how much money go in their pocket and how much is coming out. Trump giving us laws to get us more money, and small business. You already hear MAGA talking about, oh yeah, he's helping small businesses. He's helping small businesses get more money in their pockets. That's money is not the only thing that works. We need morality. We need a leader, an actual president. That dude is not it. He's not.
All right.
For real.
All right, King. Appreciate you coming in. Have a good night. Anytime. You too. Come on back through. All right. Looking in the comment section here briefly. I didn't see what that said there. Women have rights over their own bodies, not other people's bodies. Unborn babies are people too. Healthy living, suggesting that a woman's right to choose should not give her the right to make a decision over someone else's body. And because the embryo fetus inside of her is a body of another person, she should not have the right over that body. I understand your point. A lot of folks disagree with it, but I do understand your point. Healthy living. Tell Trump that. He paid for an abortion, says great for it. Are you certain of that? Trump paid for it. Did he? I think I may have heard that. Did he admit that or something like that? Wow. A fetus isn't a baby, says Terry L7, but it is on its way to becoming one. If uninterfered with, if you don't kill it, it will turn into a baby. That's the argument they're making. Pro-birth is different from pro-life. Pro-birth, yeah. I don't quite get that. I'm trying my best. It's getting late. pro-birth is different from pro-life. There's a riddle in there. Why am I not that? Normally you guys say things like that, it sinks right in, but pro-birth is differently from pro-life. We are literally turning into Afghanistan. Damn, Duke. Now, Afghanistan is a far-right country. Do you see America going that far to the right? I mean, women can't even drive in Afghanistan. The Taliban got the country under lock. Who would, if America turns into Afghanistan, if America goes that far to the right, who in America would represent the Taliban? I'm curious. Who would in America, because that's who controls Afghanistan to protect the far right ideology of that country. Who in America could represent the Taliban? With Trump as president, yes. I see someone said MAGA. Wow, I'll be the leader. Big Mac, you want to be Taliban? Yikes, the conservative Supreme Court. Ooh. All right, let me go ahead and try this again. Wow, MAGA. You see Trump is being that far to the right? You guys are scaring me. Takesha.
3 times I was in the box today. And each time somebody called my phone, time I got up.
They don't want us talking. They don't want us talking.
You send them to the voicemail, and they call right back.
Well, when you're hot, you're hot. You're hot. When you're hot, you're hot, Takesha. They want to talk to you, baby.
I know that's right.
Yeah, see? They want that old thing back.
Well, they can just go on about their business.
What did
I don't do no moonwalking.
What did Cardi B say? Get a bucket and a mop or something like that?
I said I don't do no moonwalking.
Okay, all right. All right, well, let's make it happen since you're on here now. Trump, only a month, 464 million. What say you?
Didn't he say that if the NATO countries didn't pay their bill, Putin had the right to do what he wanted to do with them? Well, if he don't pay his bill, Letitia J got the right to do what she wanted to do with him.
You know, it's crazy that anytime Trump claims to be the victim of something, it's easy to come up with quotes where he took a tough stance on somebody else under the same circumstances, like when he was pleading the fifth. Yeah, he pleading the fifth, and then you come up with, well, if you plead the fifth, it means you work for the mob, or it means you got something to hide. Then all of a sudden, he's pleading the fifth. Yeah, it's crazy that you can come up with those quotes of him being tough on somebody all the time. I mean, it's insane.
Did he not just say that about NATO?
Yeah. That's an excellent reference. I didn't even think of that. That was an excellent reference. Yeah, you did say that. You got to pay your bills.
Oh, you got to pay your bill, Trump.
Wow.
Yeah.
But should he get more than a month, or is a month too quick?
No.
Only a month for $500 million?
Well, he's standing up there looking like Gomer Pyle, USS, singing that song with his hand, salute like he in the USS Army, and supposed to have it over his heart. Ain't nobody stand Trump. Who makes a choir out of a day so tragic, and then sit up and call the people that did what they did political?
Well, Trump calls it a good day. He says it's a love fest. Is it really tragic?
What was so loving about it?
MAGA got together to stand up.
Did they spell "I love Trump" in the feces they spread on the wall?
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Did they? Is that what they did? Did they say "I love Trump" when they were looking for Mike Pence?
No, they were talking about taking his life.
Okay, where was the love in it?
The love was the coming together of MAGA to defend the election.
Handsome. They were not defending the election. They were defending Trump.
Oh, yeah. But they
weren't there because they truly felt like they were doing something in the name of democracy. They were doing something in the name of Trump. It's all about Trump. It's not about America. It's about Trump.
So you're almost making them sound like they code like again. You almost make it.
They are codes.
What about just the idea that Biden is screwing up the country and they want the country ran properly?
They're cults. Think about it. When they was lying and saying Obama was screwing the country, did they come out then and act crazy?
Yeah. Well, when you mention acting crazy on YouTube, Francisco Martinez says, "What about all the people killed during that summer? The summer of love, Black Lives Matter."
I'm not even finna play with Martinez. Trump and I already told you how he felt about you this weekend in Ohio rally. You just need to hush and get yourself together because he done already talked about you real bad. And I know you ain't sitting up here trying to support this man. Baby, bye.
Okay, so just for the audience at home, I want you to elaborate. You said he done already told you what he feels about you. Explain.
That you're nothing. Yeah. Bottom line, you're nothing.
Go ahead. I think I know. In fact, I want you to hear a quick clip because I kind of.
Go ahead, funny handsome.
Okay, give me a second here to cue this up because I want you to hear this and it kind of references. Girl, you need to stop. It's hard to keep a straight face. Okay.
This country has never seen anything like what's happening. We have never seen what's happening to our country right now. They're destroying our country. They're ruining our country. In the Republican Party, we believe that Laken's killer is an illegal alien criminal. He is an illegal monster. He should never have been in our country, and he would have never been in our country. Never, ever would he have been in our country if the election weren't rigged, because we didn't allow people like that into our country. We didn't welcome them, and they knew it. You know, does anybody like the snake? Do you know the snake?
And that wasn't even the clip I was thinking about, but damn, it kind of references what you were talking about. But he did.
You think I'm finna entertain Francisco?
Well, he believes that during the summer of 2020, Black Lives Matter got a pass, and that MAGA is getting hammered when, you know, folks kind of call Black Lives Matter, you know, peaceful protesters.
Handsome. Again, somebody take it up for somebody that talks about them like they're a piece of, you know, poo on a shoe. Yeah, he don't have anything to say to me.
Yeah, he's had some choice words for her, but he's talking about illegals. He's not talking about, okay, they don't took down somebody don't got pissed off, I think, over at TikTok. So I got to appeal. They don't remove the live because they didn't like something that was said on it. So hang on for my folks over on YouTube. I will have to appeal the live. This happens a lot of times. We talk about controversial topics and you get haters in the audience. Now, oddly enough, usually it is more folks on the left, in my opinion, that report stuff like this. But because of the conversation we were having was more left-wing oriented, I mean, unless it was censored by the TikTok censors, it would have to have been a right-winger to report that because she clearly was bashing the hell out of Trump. Usually when you're bashing LGBT or COVID vaccines and things like that, it happens. Somebody will report. Because it's usually it's folks on the left that do the reporting, but this time it went down, and if there was a person reporting it would have had to miss somebody on the right because she was pretty critical of Trump. We'll see what happens, though. Looking in the comments on YouTube, though, Figures says PM, yeah, it does happen. I mean, I do have folks on both the left and right side of the aisle that do not like their political candidates of choice being criticized. So it comes from both sides. Mostly on the left, in my opinion. It's usually folks on the left that are quicker to report and get people taken off. But I've seen enough of it at this point to know it happens on the right as well. You start calling Trump a racist or saying some negative things about Trump, there are people on the right that will report you. So it does happen on both sides. Big mamas have zero input to black man votes today. Go take a nap, lady. Who cares? I think I kind of get what you're trying to say there. More of the illegals are not even Mexicans anymore. They from Africa and other countries. I do agree they're from other countries, but it's still mostly Hispanic countries. I mean, most of the folks coming across the border, there are some Chinese in there. There are some Middle Easterners in there, which is crazy. I do understand and agree with the complaints that that shouldn't be happening. I mean, you don't came all the way from China to go into Guatemala or Nicaragua or something like that and then migrate through Mexico to America. Look, I agree more on the Trump side that the border is a mess and that Biden is responsible for some of it. Where I disagree is that Trump suggesting that hundreds of thousands of these folks are murderers and things like that. You can point out the border mess without overstating. I think the truth is all you need. You don't have to add an ad lib. And I do believe what Trump is doing is ad libbing his ass off. Mostly rapists and murderers, for instance. You don't have to say that. Just look, we got a ton of folks that have come in this country that are unvetted. These could be anybody. We don't know who they could be. This needs to be stopped. It needs to be gotten under control. That's a fact. Rapists and murderers and all, no, that's not a fact. That's you using your emotion and how you feel, and it's translating to people believing that shit's real. So that part I don't agree with. I do believe we need to get it under control. Now in the comments, time to wake up or time to mask up says hundreds of people have died by illegals. Hundreds, 10 million folks have come in this country under Biden. Allegedly, 10 million of these folks. And according to Trump, their majority rapists and it should be millions, not hundreds. It should be millions. If what Trump is saying is accurate, it should be millions. The notion that you had a bunch of rapists and murderers come to the country and they've all decided to act right is insane. It should be millions. If what Trump is saying is true, which obviously I disagree with, because the numbers don't fit. The numbers do not match what he's saying. It should be millions. It shouldn't be hundreds. I get some folks saying, well, one is too many. I agree with the nursing student in Georgia being murdered. Yeah, one is too many. But that don't mean you need to say it's millions. None of that. You can't just make up your own damn numbers. That's what I'm saying. Why doesn't America just accept the fact that they murdered all of their young? Whoa. I don't quite know where you're coming from with that. I do agree. We have hurt countries. We've hurt the way countries are, ran, which is why a lot of those folks are coming here. Real quick.
And others.
Now here
Unbelievable when I see it going. But I got to know all these people. They're very smart, very streetwise. And I would do the same thing. If I had prisons that were teeming with MS-13 and all sorts of people that they've got to take care of for the next 50 years, right? Young people, they're in jail for years, if you call them people. I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left says that's a terrible thing to say. They say you have to vote against him because did you hear what he said about humanity? I've seen the humanity, and these are bad. These are animals, okay? And we have to stop it. We can't have another Lakin. We have so many people. We have so many people being hurt so badly and being killed. They're sending their prisoners to see us. They're bringing them right to the border, and they're dropping them off, and we're allowing them to come in. And these are tougher than anybody we've got in the country. These are hardened criminals, and we've got hundreds of thousands of them. And
see, this is what I'm talking about. That's not accurate. I mean, that's just not accurate. Hundreds of thousands. That's not accurate. Now, I see the comments. Jeanette says murder is up 19% since Biden opened the borders. Yeah, but are they being murdered by people coming across the border? If murder is up by 19%, is our jails loaded with murderers that came across the border into the country illegally? Is that what's in jail? Is that at least what's being charged? The numbers don't add up to any of that. The numbers do not add up to that stuff. I'm just simply saying, I totally agree we need to get the border under control, but that doesn't justify making up false numbers. And by the way, the TikTok appeal went through, so we're back on TikTok as well. Let's go, Trump says Taft. The whole notion that most of these folks coming into the country under Biden are criminals looking to hurt people, it just doesn't measure up to what's actually happening. If it was, you should have a lot more deaths. You should have a lot more crime being committed. I mean, he's Governor Abbott, and to a lesser degree, Ron DeSantis sent a bunch of them up north. They're complaining about immigrants taking resources, EBT cards, shelters, and hotels, and they're not complaining about the crime. Even in New York, where a cop was beaten by a few of them, they're not complaining that the immigrants are perpetrating crimes all over New York City. They're complaining that they're homeless and laying on the streets and things like that. Trump is suggesting that these folks are here to kill people. I just, you don't have to inflate numbers to make it up. Just like in the comments on TikTok, Tim the Patriot makes a good point. One death is too many. True. That is absolutely true. One death at the hands of somebody that shouldn't be in this country is too many. But you don't need to, just tell the truth. You don't need to fabricate the truth to get your point across. Stick with one death is too many. Don't come back and say 2 million people got killed. It's one. Just be honest about it. Trump is not being honest about the danger that we're facing. He is actually greatly inflating it to make his point. And that's wrong. That's all I'm saying. It's wrong to do that. I mean, like I said, you got folks in these sanctuary cities that are not even complaining that immigrants are going around murdering everybody and raping everybody. That's what Trump is saying. I just think I don't think you don't need to lie to kick it, for lack of a better term. I think that's from a movie. You don't need to lie to kick it, Craig. That's Friday. Yeah, you don't need to do that. You listen, there are tens of thousands of folks coming in this country under Biden that have not been vetted, that are coming from countries that are suspicious in nature, that are some of them are allegedly on our terrorist watch list. Yemen, the Middle East. You got folks coming from China, which is incredibly suspicious that they're coming in through Mexico. There's enough chaos under the Biden administration at the border to draw attention by simply being honest. The stuff I just stated is truth. You don't need to make up a scenario where they're all rapists and murderers to get your point across. You don't need, that is exactly like what we're discussing now about Trump having a hard time paying the $464 million after having them on video.
Really rich. I made a lot of money. I have these guys. Maybe he's not worth 10 billion. I think he's only worth 7. I'm actually worth more than 10. Well over $10 billion. Much more than that, but that's okay. I wanted to be conservative. Nobody knows what I own. The greatest assets, Trump Tower. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. Bank of America building in San...
Point is, quit inflating shit. Everybody, just like we're talking about the border. We know the border is a mess. Biden looks awful on the border. Just tell the truth. Just like in this case, we know while this was being filmed, everybody knew Trump was rich. Why go further and beyond? Why make up shit? Just be truthful. Everything doesn't need to be inflated. And in both of these cases, whether it's him on television right now talking about how much he's worth, or suggesting that there are hundreds of thousands of rapists and murderers coming, you don't need to do that to get the point across. It's sometimes being overzealous to make a point, being boisterous, comes back to bite you. And this certainly is the case where it's coming back to bite him. You don't need to go around lying and say you're worth 10 billion. 1 billion is incredibly impressive to most Americans. Simply having $1 billion back in the 80s and 90s would be incredibly impressive. You don't need to go around telling people you got 10. Just like in the case of the immigrants. You got folks that are coming in here unvetted by the thousands, coming from Middle East countries, coming from China, You know, you get Russians and shit coming in the country from the southern border. The truth is shocking enough. You don't need to fabricate shit to get the point across. Suggesting that not only are they coming from all these wild countries, they're all coming here to rape and murder you. You don't need to add that. You know, because now it detracts from the actual problem. Because you got folks like me who would say, okay, where are all the rapes and murders? Where are they at? And then you have folks like my guy in the comments, Tim the Patriot, responding, well, you know, one is too many. That ain't what he said, though. He's saying there's hundreds of thousands of them. He didn't say one. Are you saying people are coming through ports of entry and not being vetted? Prove that. Oh, if you come from Venezuela, they don't have a government in place. There's no way to vet them. There's tons of people coming in this country that are not being vetted. China doesn't even accept their immigrants back. So you think that they're vetting everybody that's coming in this country? There's no way that's happening. It's not even possible for many of them. And I'll give you an example. Yours truly, I migrated to Australia, lived overseas for a few years back in the early 2000s. To get the visa, residency, all of the shit I had to go through, I had to be vetted. You know how they vetted me? I left Chicago. I had to give them my criminal records from Chicago. I had to give them my criminal records from the county of Cook, the state of Illinois. I had to give them my fingerprints showing cleared by the FBI. And then they ran me through Interpol. So I made sure I didn't have any international warrants. But you could contact authorities in the United States. You could contact the feds. You could contact the state of Illinois. You could contact the county of Cook, or you could contact Chicago. You can't get anybody on the phone in Venezuela. So any of the Venezuelan immigrants have not been vetted. There's no way they don't really have a government in place. There's no way to vet them. So yeah, there's a lot of them coming here that are not vetted. I think telling the truth about the border under President Biden makes him look bad. You don't need to lie and make it sound like everybody coming here is Freddy Krueger and Jason. You don't have to inflate it like that. I think the actual truth is significant enough. But Trump, in Trump-like fashion, likes to inflate shit. So he don't went from, one or two of these folks don't be, found guilty to murder somebody to shit, they're all murderers. It's insane. It's insane. It's flat out, it's a lie. I mean, it's a flat out lie that is based on nothing. Based on nothing. This is very similar to when I had some of my folks on the right during the COVID years suggest that folks were perishing from the vaccine by the millions. This is one of the reasons why nobody wanted to get vaccinated. You're going to lose your life. And you would ask them, okay, where are all the bodies at? Where they're hiding them? Over half the country's been vaccinated. You're talking about 150 million people. You can't hide 150 million bodies. You would start noticing big ass grass hills growing in your state. Like you can't hide 150 million bodies.
San Francisco, 1290.
That's the deal here, where you can inflate the truth so much that it just doesn't make sense, and that's what Trump is doing in regards to suggesting all these folks are rapists and murderers. That somehow they came to America. Now, according to Trump, they came right out of prison down there in Venezuela. Now, and by the way, I want you to hear this because we talked about this the other day, but to me, it's nothing short of shocking because I don't know what made him say it, but he suggested that crime is down 60% around the world because everybody's sending their criminals here. So if crime is down 60%, that is significant. He stated crime is down 60% around the world because everybody is sending their criminals here. That means crime in America should be skyrocketing. That's not true, though. I mean, nobody's claiming that crime is through the roof in America. This is what I'm talking about. Why make this shit up? Why inflate it that much? How is that different from Trump? How is that different from Trump and Obama? I don't quite get that comment there, but save America before it's too late. Save it how? Save it from what? I'd be curious. Hi, I'm from North Korea, says Body Snatcher. I don't believe you. Quick question, moderator, do you feel or like, and we don't have a moderator on this program, Eloy, I've made it clear, I believe in unfettered, uncensored content. There is no censorship here. We don't have a moderator. I've had a few folks request the job, but I don't want to take a chance on getting a liberal moderator or somebody who's pro-Trump and they start, moderating people out that have a difference of opinion. So we don't have a moderator. This program has always been uncensored. Lisa, and Coat Jam, thank you for the heart. Wonder if you take me home, will we still be in love? Because I need it tonight. Definitely an 80s fan. I like that band. Force MDs is the one that put them on or something like that. Yeah, Lisa and Coat Jam. Anyway, but yeah, we don't have a moderator. We don't have a moderator on the program. So if you want to know who the moderator is, it is yours truly, and I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Yep, I see that Darren Styles says Brooklyn. Yes, I'm a big fan of Lisa and Coat Jam. Occasionally, after talking to MAGA, I'm all cried out, if you know what I mean. Let me see, I would think Solutions is savior for a I would think Solutions is savior for a longer and healthier life. I don't quite get what you mean there. I think you have two bad choices, says Sid. I'm assuming you're talking about between Trump and Biden, perhaps, but there are certain things in this country, if you want to have done, if you want directions of this country to take, it makes sense to vote for Trump or Biden. There are certain areas where they are vastly different, and it makes sense to vote for Trump if that's what you want, or it makes sense to vote for Biden if that's what you want. So all you babies like to moderate, says In Motion. Well, you don't get that here in Motion. Thank you for the participation. Apollonia, though. What about Apollonia? You talking about from Purple Rain? What about her? Other than the fact that she was able to purify herself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Really nice scene from that movie. For you folks who may have seen Purple Rain. Looking in the comments, I don't see any good reason at all anyone would vote for Biden. Pro-choice? Should you vote for Trump? You believe that perhaps some tuition should be forgiven? How about the George Floyd bill? How about just, you're tired of the tweets and the insulting. There's a ton of reasons to vote for Biden. You may be favorable to Trump, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a lot of reasons you should vote for President Biden. So yeah, I vehemently disagree with you on that. How about you do believe in universal health care? Trump wasn't a big fan of that. So there's a lot of reasons to vote for Biden. Why would anyone censor me for my opinions? I think Trump is not qualified and Biden is a moron. Well, people will censor you because they don't like that opinion. Maybe somebody really has a lot riding on Trump becoming president again, or Biden, and they don't like you calling one a moron or saying the other one is unqualified. People do it. You don't have to worry about it happening here, but it does happen. George Floyd bill, laughing my ass off, says Rooster. Well, and that's the point. If you vote for Biden, you're not going to have somebody saying they're laughing their ass off. If you vote for Trump, yeah, the George Floyd bill is something to laugh at. That's a perfect example. Whether you should vote for Biden or vote for Trump. If you believe the George Floyd bill, police accountability in general is something you favor, and you don't want to start talking about, corrupt cops should be held accountable. You don't want somebody laughing in your face talking about Blue Lives Matter, then you should vote for Biden. Because if you start talking about corrupt cops, particularly to the MAGA side or the Republicans, you're going to be told as long as you comply with the law, nothing's going to happen to you. There's an example right there of why you should vote for one over the other. Looking in the comments, does that say shitty pants? Oh, shit my pants. Alex Jones and Billy Carson for president. Alex Jones, the guy who was paid out one of the largest, he's been ordered to pay out one of the largest civil judgments in U.S. history for lying, suggesting that the Sandy Hook victims were not real victims. You want that guy for president? I don't know. I'm going to say Alex Jones, huh? Alex Jones. Wow. Looking in the comment. Listen, I think that Alex Jones' whole claim to fame is, for the most part, challenging the mindset of what we believe and entering the realm of conspiracies. I don't, you name it, whether it's Kennedy, World Trade Center, man on the moon, the shape of the earth, he has a different opinion on all of it. So, and that's his claim to fame. I don't know if I'd want that as a president, though. I mean, because keep in mind, a lot of the shit that Alex Jones challenges came from presidents and people in charge. All of a sudden now, Alex Jones may be up there being accused of saying things that ain't true. Trump is secretly gay. I don't buy that at all. Whoever just put that in, Trump is some might argue a womanizer, but Trump has had his share of some really, really attractive women. Trump is not gay. I don't believe that at all. The choice is obvious. Take a guess. By the way, I'm neither Republican or Democrat and never have been. Well, we said the choice is obvious. I'd have to ask you, what are your goals and aspirations for this country? Because the choice is not obvious. It depends on what you support. The choice is not obvious at all. Trump wanting immunity should tell you something. He wants to break the law. Yikes. Friday. Good afternoon. I'm doing good. What am I getting wrong here? Do you think that because President Trump suggested that we've been flooded with rapists and murderers. You think that's accurate?
I love the point that you bring up, dude. I said I've never agreed more with a Democrat than I do with you, buddy.
Wow.
You and I see eye to eye. It's just we vote two different ways. I agree with you 100% when you inflate things and make things look worse than what it is. You hurt yourself more than you help yourself. There's no question we have a crisis at the borders. There's no question that we're letting people in here that shouldn't be in here. But, dude, you don't have to lie about it. Just give the facts, give the real numbers. And like you said, it's bad enough that you don't have to make it look worse than what it is. Yeah. It's already bad.
Yeah. And I said that because I get a lot of pushback from folks on the right, on the left. Whoa, Biden is not handling the border any worse than Trump. I think that's crazy because Biden was denying that there was even a border issue for 3 years. So I do believe Biden has screwed up the border. But yeah, I think what Trump is doing is just fabricating the truth to a intergalactical lie. I mean, suggesting everybody coming here is raping and murdering. I don't know.
No, that's why I laugh. No, because the Democrats and Biden, they love to bring up about this whole, we want to fix a border, but your Republicans are the ones not voting for it. Well, you can wait until your final year, and I'm not saying I agree with what the Republicans are doing. I think, hey, if there's legislative put up in front of you that betters this country, regardless of what point of his presidency it is, vote for it. Send it up.
So how do you feel? How do you feel about?
Go ahead and.
So how do you feel about folks?
It's going to help us. Why not accept it?
So how do you feel about folks suggesting that the only reason the border bill didn't make it through was Trump did not want to do it to help Biden out?
Say that one more time.
I said, how do you feel about the fact that some Republicans, by the way, are suggesting that the only reason the border bill was not agreed upon is because Trump didn't want it passed during Biden's administration because it might help Biden out politically?
I think that's a bunch of BS, and here's where I stand with it. Do I believe that Trump doesn't want it passed because it's Biden that's going to pass it? 100%. But, dude, you've seen so many times, there's so many things that Trump didn't want that these guys didn't care. They still did anyways. Heck, Trump wanted them all to support him, when he believed the election was stolen. Do you think all these Republicans stood up beside him? No, that's why he got upset with half of them. I mean, look at Lindsey Graham, he gets mad every time Lindsey don't agree with him, but they're still friends.
Yeah. Well, but okay, so you're saying you don't believe that Trump stifled this. So you think they're just making that up? Because they are saying that.
No, I do believe that Trump may have said something of that nature where, hey, don't pass anything until I get back in office or until after the election.
So if the border,
he would be one to say something like that.
Yeah, so if the border is as messy as folks are suggesting, but they're willing to wait for 10 months or more until Trump gets in office, it makes folks wonder, is it really as bad as you're saying? If you can wait 10 months instead of doing something now so that it helps Trump, then perhaps maybe the border isn't as bad as you're claiming.
I can see that side of the argument. I mean, I don't think that's the case here. I think it is bad. It's just, like I said, I don't know, man. I just don't think that they want to see anything good. They don't want Biden to have anything good to run on. You know, if they pass this bill now and say it somewhat slows down at the border, or you see a huge improvement, the numbers, sharply decline, you know the Democrats are going to run with that all the way to the election. And I think they're afraid of that. But I think, the majority of the country can see, so what, that it slowed down, this year. What about the first 3 years when he kept saying it wasn't a crisis? And that's the way that I would look at it. If, as a voter going to the poll, that's what I'm going to look at. I'm not going to look at just his final 10 months in office. I'm looking at the whole 4 years that he was president.
You and I totally agree on that, because I said the same thing. Why didn't you do anything the first 3 years? And that's why I also suggested that simply telling the truth about how Biden has been at the border is all you need. You don't need to make up, some wolf ticket about them all being rapists and murderers. But let me ask you this. Sid on YouTube, thank you by the way for the super chat, said, fam, I think Trump is a narcissist who will say anything to win, divide the nation, scare tactics, talk about them because they are evil. I hope Trump finds a better platform to run on. Anything to win, dividing the nation. What say you, S?
Dude, I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think his intent is to divide the country. I think it's politics, dude. Politics are ugly. It's never nice. Running for office, you're going to say whatever you have to say to get put into that position. I don't think it's necessarily with the intent to divide the country. I think it's more so with the intent to try to win the office.
But you don't think when he was pissed off with McCain, my war heroes don't get captured. You don't see anything divisive about that? Or Nikki Haley, she's a bird brain when she got...
I wouldn't call it divisive, but I mean, I have an issue with him saying that, especially being one that served our country for 6.5 years. I do have an issue with him saying that because... that could happen to anybody that goes overseas to fight. Anyone at any given time could be captured and be held hostage.
So what? Okay, so you don't think that you have an issue with it, but you don't think it's divisive. What do you, when you say something is divisive, define that. What is divisive to you?
Divisive, to me would be, for example, race is a big thing right now. Well, it has been for a long time. We need to do something about these black people committing all these crimes. Even though it's not just black people committing the crime, trying to divide the country by race. Something of that nature. Or, even I would even go as far as saying women's right could be divisive. Trying to divide the country. No child should ever be aborted, period. Because I'm pro-life, but I do believe in abortion. To an extent, I do believe that if a woman's health is at risk, why chance a woman losing her life and forcing her to have that kid? That's just not right. As far as the incest and the RAPE goes, the problem with that is women know when they've been in that situation. So why are you waiting 6-7 months later to take action on it? And that's where... I have an issue. I more so have an issue with women waiting till a certain point to take action instead of doing something right away.
Yeah, but why don't there, I guess to some degree, when it comes to abortion, why don't the Republican Party at least indicate that they're going to help these women that they're going to have children? I mean, if you're going to take away their right to terminate help them out with milk formula. Help them out with after school care. These are children that would not be born unless it was for your law. But why not propose some type of assistance for these moms?
Right. Well, I would argue there is, dude. My wife and I.
I think people know better.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know my background. I've told you before. I'm a state trooper, so I make decent money up here in PA. Last year, I cleared almost 100,000, 99,000. So I make decent money. I would say.
You a trooper making six figures? You on the take up there?
Right. So me and my wife, we tried getting help because there were times where we were struggling. We couldn't get a single dime towards she didn't qualify for WIC, and we live in an expensive part of the state, but my rent alone is $2,200. Well, that's a whole paycheck.
Wow.
So we live in an expensive area. We couldn't get no help whatsoever. Why? Because we make too much. Now, my sister, on the other hand, who has 3 kids, doesn't have a job, been on welfare her whole life. She gets everything free. My son, he's having a hard time. He speaks, he knows his words and stuff. But he's delayed in certain aspects. He's not, autistic or anything, but he's delayed in certain skills that he should be advanced on by now. We can't get no help with it. We have to pay for everything that we need. Well, why is that fair to myself? You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these people that
but you haven't been. Nobody passed a law to alter how you lived your life, though.
Right. So I mean, I guess I'm kind of getting off point. My point is there are a lot of free programs out here, depending on your wealthiness, how wealthy you are. If you're someone that's poor and can't afford much, there's a lot of free programs out here for you. Between WIC, food stamps.
And the Conservative Party is not trying to limit or take those programs away?
I mean, if they are, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. I want you to hear some. I queued up because we were talking about divisive rhetoric. I want to play this. This is actually, I've played it numerous times on the program. I don't know if you've seen it before, but I want you to hear this. I want to get your opinion on whether you see something like this as divisive.
Trying to paint you as a racist. Are you aware of that?
I think so, but I think people know better than that. I'm probably the least racist person on earth.
Well, I've known you a long time, and I never saw any racism from you. However, when you tweet out a thing, and this bothered me, I got to tell you, you tweeted out that whites killed by blacks, these were statistics you picked up from somewhere, at a rate of 81%. And that's totally wrong. Whites killed by blacks is 15%. Yet you tweeted it was 81%. Now,
Bill, I didn't tweet. I retweeted somebody that was supposedly an expert.
But you don't
and it was also a radio show.
Why do you want to be in that zone?
Hey, Bill, am I going to check every statistic? I get millions and millions of people.
You got it. You're a presidential contender.
I have millions of people. You know what? Fine. But this came out of radio shows and everything else.
Oh, come on,
All
radio
it was
shows?
A retweet. I didn't say. Excuse me. All it was is a retweet. It wasn't from me, and it came out of a radio show and other places because you see all the names.
Look, I'm looking out for you, right? You know that? Yeah, I'm looking out for you. I look out for every honest politician. I don't care what party they're in. Don't do this. Don't put your name on stuff like this because it makes the other side, it gives them stuff to tell the ill-informed voter that you're a racist. I mean, you just hand them the platter.
This was a retweet. Bill, I'm sure you're looking out for me. Everybody is, right?
Yeah.
This was a retweet. This was a retweet.
All right, whatever it is.
And it
I
came
told
from
you
sources that are very credible.
You shouldn't be tweeting. Don't tweet. Give it up for Lent.
Okay, I want you to. This is what he tweeted out. Now, if you can see it on, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on the monitor, but you see, it's a picture. Now, he suggested that if you're white and you're the victim of a homicide, there's an 81% chance that a black person did it. So he's basically making it sound like white homicide victims are mostly killed by black people. Well, whereas Bill O'Reilly corrected him and said it's actually only 15% or something like that. In other words, people kill who they are around. Blacks kill blacks, whites kill whites. But he made it sound like, blacks are committing all of the white homicides as well. Now, you see the graphic that he tweeted out. Now, this is completely fabricated, which is why Bill O'Reilly was chastising, because on the bottom of this, it says the source is Crime Statistics Bureau, San Francisco. That doesn't exist. There is no, that reference is not even real. You see the picture there. It looks like a thug there wearing a do-rag on their head. They have the gun turned to the side in typical, gang fashion. And the person is black, by the way. The character that's here is clearly black. Do you see this as being divisive? That,
I can see that dividing. Yeah, I can see that being divisive.
Okay. Do you hold him accountable for this, or do you say, hey, it's a retweet?
No, I think that's minimizing what he did. I hold him accountable for his act. He's the one that chose to retweet it. You should have, before you retweet something, you should be checking the facts. Yeah. Especially if it's something as sensitive as that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, and I would add
100% wrong for that tweet.
Yeah, and I would add two things. You said, especially if it's as sensitive as this. First thing I would say is Trump is known for the term fake news. So the idea that he's telling Bill O'Reilly, I don't have time to even check out all the things I sent out. So you didn't, like Bill O'Reilly said, you didn't even fact check this. You just sent this out. The second issue I have is, even if this was accurate, what would be the purpose of telling white people that blacks are killing you wholesale? I mean, other than to make white people think that blacks are really a menace to white folks, what would be I don't see even because folks often talk about when it comes to Trump, you got to put things into context. What would be the purpose of telling people this?
Right, and I'm not sure when this was posted or what was going on at the time of this post, which doesn't. I'm not making excuses. I'm not justifying, nor am I saying that it makes it any better. I don't know why he tweeted. I don't know why he retweeted.
I will say, now this happened during his first presidential run, because you see at the top it says crime statistics 2015. So but this is very similar to what we're talking about now in modern times, saying that most of the people coming across the border are rapists and murderers. I mean, this is inflating by telling white people most of your murders are being committed by black people. This is doing to blacks what is currently being done to immigrants right now. It's telling everybody that they're all dangerous. That's what we're...
King, I'm not saying that it matters. King in the chat said, does it matter what was happening? King, I'm not saying that it matters. But Handsome asked, about why he would tweet that. And what I'm saying is I don't know why he would tweet it. Like, I don't know what was going on at that time.
I can't think of anything that would be going on. I get your point though. You're right. I don't remember what's going on either, but to make you tell white people that blacks are murdering them wholesale, other than to really piss off a bunch of white people and make them scared of blacks. I mean,
right, but I think this is a huge issue that we have in this country altogether. I think that when it comes to stats, we find, and I'm going to give you a prime example. So the state police, we came out with a survey last year. We do what's called a CDR. Every time we pull somebody over, we have to notate their race, ethnicity, reason for the stop, whether or not we search the vehicle, this, that, or the other, okay? So our stats showed that by far we pull over way more white people. It's not even close.
Where are you at in Pennsylvania, though?
We search. What's that, bud?
Where are you? Now, you're a state trooper. Where are you operating at in Pennsylvania? Is there a lot of blacks in your area?
I think it was 14%.
Okay, all right.
Is what I could be wrong on that. I'm not sure. I believe it's 14% in PA. So we did this. We hold these stats. We have to notate everything. Last year the stats came out that showed we pulled way more white people over, searched way more white people. So then what they did was they looked at it in the aspect of, okay, what percentage of the black people that live in PA are getting pulled over? What percentage of the black people in PA are being searched? And they found that black people were, it was like 1.7 times more likely to be searched. What they leave out is we as the state police, we cover highways. We cover a lot of rural areas that don't have their own police department.
Right.
So, for example, Philadelphia, the majority of a lot of our black population is in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. So when we're pulling cars over down there, we can't control what race it is that we're pulling over. We can't, and the other thing is like what they don't say what leads us to wanting to search that vehicle. And I'll tell you straight up, through my experience, when I pull someone over and I ask to search your vehicle, black people tend to leave MJ in plain view all the time. Like, I don't know.
They leave what in plain view?
Search, it's because they leave MJ right wide open.
What is MJ?
The marijuana.
Marijuana. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't see, the stats don't always show you the whole story and why that's happening. It's not just because, hey, because of your race, I want to search your. That just don't happen. I'm not saying that there aren't crooked cops out there. I'm not saying that there aren't cops out there that are racist. But what I'm saying is, you have the media that likes to make things look like Trump's doing with the border. You have the media that likes to do that using the race game. And it's just not cool, dude. It's not cool. It makes all of us look bad. And I don't appreciate it as a law enforcement officer.
Well, let me respond. And by the way, Sid, I will address that very nice super chat. Give me a moment, Sid, on YouTube. What I will say is this. I think, for you and your brothers in blue, the problem, I think, is that, you can take this any way you want, and you can certainly respond any way you want as well without any censorship. But I think the boys in blue have known for years that the blue wall of silence existed. Bad cops were being protected, and they ruin your reputation. In a lot of departments, if you know a cop is doing wrong, it's kind of not even safe to snitch on them. But he's ruining the reputation of everybody. I think that went on for I don't know about if it's going on now, but the problem is that went on for too long. That bad cops were allowed to operate with impunity for the most part because other folks would let them do it.
Right. And well, and one of the things that I can say, just because I'm in that career field is a lot of times you don't know the bad cops until they're doing this stuff. Like, people think like they're constantly doing it and we're just trying to cover it up. And that's just, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is it's not that common. I can tell you now, I don't know anybody that I work with that does that type of stuff. And if I did, I would hands down turn them in right away because I wouldn't play that game.
Yeah, but it is also 2024, and that's what I'm saying is that the damage has been done. I mean, we know the history of America with cops, because folks always ask, why are blacks so resistant when they get, when they are in contact with a cop? And it's like, the history is awful. So it's going to take some time for that to go away. I mean, the history of, cops interacting with black people has been awful. And, I'm just going to be honest, I don't have any type of criminal record, but my family has, those stories get passed down to us. Is that, folks getting wrongfully arrested, getting their property seized. And I think most of the black people I know, for instance, coming up in Chicago, got at least a couple bad cop stories in their arsenal that they can tell you off the top of their head about being wrongfully stopped or having their paycheck taken from them. I got a couple of them myself where they took property of mine and I had to go down to the police station and prove it was mine to get it back. I think that's the problem, is that until that goes away, you're going to still have this.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I'm very understanding on both sides. When I run into somebody in that situation, that seems to be, frightened or kind of like, unsure on whether or not it was a legit stop, I'm upfront and honest, dude. When I pull somebody over, I tell them straight up, hey, this is why I pulled you over, and if I don't think I'm going to issue a citation, I'll tell you straight up, like, dude, listen, I stopped you for going 12 over. Okay, as long as everything else checks out fine, you're going to be free to go with a warning. If they're still nervous after that, like, that tells me that something else is up. You know what I'm saying? I'm very upfront and honest with everybody, and now not everybody operates that way. I know guys that won't tell you.
Let me ask you this,
unless you ask.
Well, let me ask you this in regards to Trump. Do you support stop and frisk? Because a lot of folks on the right supports that. Do you support that?
I do not. No.
Okay. All right. Do you believe it is a violation?
Reason.
Go ahead.
Unless you have a reason to, no, you shouldn't just be stopping and frisking people. No.
Do you believe it's a violation of your constitutional rights?
Yes, if there's no reasonable suspicion or PC to believe that someone's armed and dangerous and is about to commit a crime, yes, I think it's violating your right 100%.
Okay. And the only reason why I asked it is we were mentioning Trump. He supports stop and frisk. He pardoned Sheriff Joe Arpaio down in Arizona who was stopping and frisking.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said he pardoned Sheriff Joe Arpaio down in Arizona who was about to go to prison for stopping and frisking brown people to prove that they had citizenship due to his immigration issues at the border down there. He was ordering his deputies to stop and frisk, stop folks and demand they show paperwork. And he was found guilty of doing it, was about to go to prison, and Trump pardoned him. So you admitting that stop and frisk was a violation of their constitutional rights, Trump is a big fan of it. I mean, obviously Rudolph Giuliani bragged about how well he got crime in New York under control. So a lot of folks on the right side of the aisle seem to be in favor of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just not. I believe, it's my job to catch bad people, but it's also my job to do it within, alliance with the Constitution. So.
Well said. All right, S. I just wanted to before I let you go. Rod is the greatest in the comments. Said if I get pulled over in Pennsylvania, I'm telling them I know you. So.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, S. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. And thank you for your service, man. Even as a cop, appreciate that. All right, going back to the box. I certainly am law enforcement friendly. But I'm not going to pretend like they're all great or they're all bad. I am friendly to law enforcement. Sid on YouTube. I wanted to point out that really awesome super chat. Sid stated, if I was banned or seasoned, what does that say? If I was banned or censored right at the start with my comment about Trump, you would have never seen this comment. I think Trump is a better choice, minus the crazy rhetoric to appease some of the crazies in the base. A lot of folks agree with you, Sid, that Trump is a better choice than Biden, but they don't like the verbiage, the rhetoric, the tweets, and things like that. Look, that's not necessarily a bad point. I said before that I do believe if Trump was more personable, he probably would have been reelected the second time. So what you said, it does resonate with a lot of people. And Sid once again said, fam, wow, Sid, damn, thank you. That's a very nice super chat. Fam, I need to put on my damn glasses. My eyes are getting bad this time of night. Fam, you a mod against people like at JTG. Who is JTG? They come to make everyone's experience bad. Moderators should never ban anymore because they have a different idea. Maybe within the stream, slowly they will tell you how they really feel. You'll never get banned by me, Sid. You'll never, and by the way, thank you for the super chat, but you don't have to contribute anything to the program. I'm never going to ban you. I absolutely appreciate your support. Absolutely. Thank you. But I don't believe in censoring folks because we have a difference of opinion. Because at the end of the day, you don't change anybody's heart or mind by silencing them. You just make them think you're a jackass. And I do believe people should be able to speak. If you and I disagree, the fact that you can talk to me and I can talk to you allows us to possibly meet in the middle. If I silence you or you silence me, the division grows even greater because now you don't trust me or I don't trust you. So you'll never have that happen here. Looking in the comments, but you've got another reason for probable cause, like not using a signal for driving. Yeah, probable cause is a lot different than stop and frisk, but we know if you want to profile someone, you can make, you can make up probable cause. I would have asked my last caller S, but let's just be clear. If you follow somebody long enough, we're still humans. We're imperfect. You follow somebody down the highway long enough, you can find some reason to pull them over, weaving, or, we all make a mistake. When you really look at the technicality of driving, it's probably almost impossible for a human to drive without making an error somewhere. They actually have, there's a certain amount of time you're supposed to stop at a stop sign. A certain amount of time you're supposed to stop at a red light before you turn on the right. In fact, I just had to pay $100 ticket for this. I stopped at a red light for, half a second or some shit, and then I made a right turn. No traffic or any significance, no accident or anything, but a speed light camera got me. And apparently I didn't stop long enough before making it right. So it's almost impossible for a human being to drive without making an error. There's a certain amount of feet you're supposed to put on your signal before making a turn. How many of us do that? Some people put a signal on right before they make the damn turn. You can get pulled over for that. I think if somebody wants to pull you over, it's impossible to avoid it. You're just a human being. You can't drive perfectly. Some of us don't even know all of the damn rules that exist. You just can't avoid it. So you don't have to stop and frisk people, so to speak. You can kind of make up a reason, but I always say if you don't want to get stopped by police, don't get behind the wheel of a car. Let's say you're on the run, you're trying to lay low, catch the bus in public transportation everywhere you go. Don't get most of us, law-abiding citizens, the only contact you have with law enforcement is when you're behind the wheel of a vehicle. If you ever got to lay low, don't get a car. Go somewhere where there's a lot of people, where you can blend in, Detroit, New York, somewhere like that, and catch the bus. Do not get behind the wheel of a car. And now that they got the damn license plate readers and shit like that, it just gets to be even more insane. I mean, you can be driving down the street, and if you want it, some automated reader picks up the license plate of your car and will notify the cops. We just seen this car go by. Just completely automated. Don't get behind the wheel of a vehicle. Looking in the comments, by the way, now that I don't tell everybody partially how to evade law enforcement. Trump for dictator, says Cheeky Chops, friend of the program. I always enjoy your participation. You want Trump to be a dictator? Is that really what Trump supporters want? MAGA, Trump for dictator? Is that, because I'm going to bring that up. It's interesting you would say that, because Trump is suggesting that if he gets in the White House again, he essentially is going to replace everybody with his own people. I mean, he's already replaced the head of the DNC with his own relative. I mean, now his relatives are, I'm not trying to say Trump is a dictator, but he's doing some dictator type shit. He is doing some of that. I mean, how many folks believe, particularly talking about my beloved MAGA, folks on the right, how many folks on the right believe that really the only trustworthy politician in D.C. is Trump? Trump is kind of like, what is the guy, Maroon 5, Adam Levine. The lead singer is all you need. The band is completely replaceable. I think that a lot of folks that support Trump see Trump as a one-man band. All of the rest of the folks, the surrounding cast, you can put anybody on the Senate or on Congress that, as long as they support Trump, they're good to go. We need Trump. So I do see a lot of folks favoring behavior from Trump that does resemble being a dictator. I'm not going to suggest you want a dictator, but you're certainly opening yourself up to it, because he is talking about replacing most of the Republicans in Washington. I mean, Trump and Trump supporters think that most of the Republicans in D.C. are rhinos. Most of them are not worthy of the position. So, and all it takes for you to really become a rhino is to criticize Trump. That's close to the dictators type stuff. That's really close to it. If Trump's a dictator, I'll take it, says JTG. Thank you. You don't have to keep typing it, but if Trump is a dictator, and I do believe that is how a lot of folks on the right feel. That, listen, the vision Trump has for this country is so great. Hey, if it takes him 10, 15 years to do it, I'm with it. His vision is it. I'm willing to take this for the next 10 years from the same guy. I think there are people who would be totally okay with Trump throwing out the traditional way of elections in this country if they could get Trump to remain in office for the next 10 years or so. I mean, Trump is like 77, 78 years old, so it ain't like he gonna pull a Vladimir Putin and be in office for 20, 30 years. He don't have that much time left. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. That's crazy. Imagine them hearing Dems saying they want Biden as a dictator. Well, they were accusing Obama of that. In fact, there was a book came out when Obama was in office. Used to advertise on Rush Limbaugh's channel. It was called Obama's Third Term. It was the suggestion that Obama wasn't going to leave office, and they're not saying it about Biden, but they were saying that Obama was going to do that. A fascist or a Marxist was going to get in power and never leave. They were saying that. See, Adina says then he can go to Russia. It's all good until he has to take their rights away to keep power. Facts only. Yikes. I don't think Trump would take away the rights of MAGA. I think it would, man, I'm trying to see how to say this without pissing people off, but it would be like, listen, if you got, I'll just say it this way, if you got a dictatorship there's always people that help out the dictator that benefits tremendously. The normal folks and the folks that aren't helping the dictator out don't benefit very much at all. But there are the folks who are helping out the dictatorship, they do very well. So if Trump became president, I don't think he's going to take away MAGA rights. They're going to gain rights. They're going to gain. I don't know about MAGA women. MAGA women might find life to be a little bit oppressive, but MAGA men, look, and here's one of the things I'll say about that. You know, because when we look at Trump's base, the love for Trump is primarily male. Even black men, favor Trump far more than white or black women do. It's men because the Democratic Party is doing a lot of things that men find to be almost like open season on men, whether it's LGBT issues, feminism, emasculating men, toxic male. I mean, all of this stuff that's coming out, and Trump's against all of that stuff. Trump is like, look, a man can be a man. I want to go back to a time when men were men. The Liberal Party does have a different mindset on that. And that's why a lot of alpha males of all backgrounds and cultures in this country are, if that's one of their primary issues, they support Trump because he is, far more in support of the alpha male type. You're not going to hear a lot of feminism and all of that type of stuff on the Republican side of the aisle. Feminism, LGBT issues, metrosexual males and all of that. You ain't hearing none of that. You ain't hearing drag queens, ain't none of that stuff very welcome on the right side of the aisle. So the alpha males, they do tend to go towards the right side of the aisle. And by the way, even in the African-American community, LGBT issues are problematic to some people. It's not even that popular particularly. I don't think there's hardly anybody that is, as a whole, groups of people that are favorable to the trans community. They just got it real hard. And if Trump ends up winning again, they're going to have it harder because the MAGA side of the aisle is not very friendly to transgender. That's the biggest problem in America, says Darren Stiles. That's what I'm talking about. Some folks feel like some of that stuff that is, let's say, weakening the nuclear family. Like I said, emasculating men, going against the traditional biblical role of men being on top. All of that stuff that you'll see more on the liberal side. The conservative side is for putting the man back at the top. So the men who favor that, they're going MAGA. Anyone on the left, read a history book. Depends on the book you read, because some folks don't want you reading certain history books. Some folks don't want you knowing all about true history. Nikki Haley, the Civil War was over taxation type shit. Depends on what history book you're talking about there, sir. LGBTQ is not favored by many groups where men are around. True. I agree with that. Alpha males don't mean I don't understand what you're saying there, Ron. Comparative arguments are useless. Hold your own leaders accountable. I hear Democrats crap on Biden every day, while Trumpers will never say a bad word about him and will defend every action. That is scary. I gotta agree with that. I have to absolutely agree that when it comes to holding your own party accountable, Democrats are far more likely to criticize Biden than MAGA is willing to criticize Trump. And notice I said MAGA, I didn't say Republicans. So I think Republicans would criticize traditional Republicans. You can't be MAGA and critical of Trump. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. So I do agree with that. It's not acceptable. The minute you start criticizing Trump, shit, you damn near a never Trumper. You damn near a rhino. I don't care what your history is. The minute you criticize Trump, you're a rhino. Right? Okay, I don't care if you've been a lifelong Republican, like a Mitch McConnell or a Mitt Romney. The minute you become critical of Trump, you're a rhino. You're not one of us anymore. Voting is an illusion. There was never a public opinion to begin with. Voting is not an illusion. If you want to argue that with the Electoral College, they can finagle things so that your vote doesn't matter, or maybe gerrymandering. I'm with that, but voting does matter, particularly when it comes to down ballot races. A lot of down ballot races in some of these counties and places around the country are decided by a handful of votes. It certainly matters. You should vote. You should participate in what the hell's going on, even if you believe it's fraudulent. The more you know, the closer you get to shit, the more you can learn. So I don't ever advise anyone avoid an election. I don't ever advise that. MAGA forever, says CW. All right. Well, folks, listen, I've been rambling on enough. I do appreciate the fact that there's still a few hundred of you folks with me on YouTube. TikTok's been a little light tonight, but that happens. I haven't been soliciting you folks. Tap the screen. 1 p.m. Central is when I'm on normal. That's when we talk normal. That's when the audience is much bigger. Generally, 1,000 to 1,500 of us are on TikTok, and probably maybe twice as many on YouTube in terms of what the numbers are right now. So if you folks enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host blocking, banning you, or trying to dictate how you should speak, I invite you to follow the program on TikTok, or certainly a subscription on YouTube would be appreciated. Feel free to smash that like button. Not a lot of that happening on YouTube tonight. And I hear on YouTube, you got to hold it down for a couple seconds or something for the like button to work. So helps out the algorithm. You know what I always say, it brings in more MAGA. Because at the end of the day, the program is always will remain MAGA friendly. It was that way since day one, always will be. Same thing on TikTok. I appreciate you folks that did tap the screen. We did all right. We will be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central. Until then, you guys have a good night. I got to go get my rest on. Thank you for tuning in. And to my YouTube audience, definitely appreciate the super chats there. Absolutely. And just the sheer participation on the YouTube side is starting to... I wish I could find a way to actually speak live with you folks, because you guys do participate pretty heavy. I do want to say thank you to that. Certainly to Sid, Shit My Pants, and Naeem Barber as usual. Thank you folks for your generosity and your participation. I will